you know.
Welcome to the CrossFire podcast, where crap slogan was just a second too late.
Yes.
And thank God, everybody. And here we are. No, it was a burp, folks. We don't do that. We are a very classy organization. It's Friday night. We've got a lot going on. Listen, I want to run down real quick. We've got a lot of debate, a lot of discussion going on here. A great pre-show we just had going. We could have, if that was mic'd, we probably would have made hundreds of, well, maybe just hundreds of dollars. But nonetheless, we would have made something. I want to say this much. CrossFire Fridays. Let me start with the one, the only. He only eats purple M&Ms in the green room, folks. It's Crap Gamer.
Almost dies, bitches. What's up? Crap Gamer here on CrossFire podcast. So, yeah.
Here
we are.
You almost did that in Assassin's voice.
That's the joke.
Crossfire.
Dude, that was the Titus O'Neil of intros.
It
Oh,
was.
hell yeah, it was. Yeah, because I thought I accidentally closed out of the thing, and so I was like, did I close out of the and then I didn't. So yeah,
Your
I'm
voice
here, and
dropped, but it was great.
yeah, it's gonna be a good show, man. There's a lot of cool stuff to talk about. I mean, I think everybody's excited about the Tomb Raider stuff, and it's good,
Well,
man. I'm
tonight's
excited.
conversations are going to be great crap because there's a lot of what ifs, and I think when you're 3-4 weeks, or actually, what is it, 4 or 5 weeks? Pardon me, before E3, the what if conversations can kind of blossom. So we'll get into a lot of that. I'll go to my brother in Xbot 448. Welcome to the show tonight, brother.
What's going on, people, and welcome to Crossfire. We're talking what if questions. What if Xbot did not vape live on Crossfire?
That's Darthbot, yes.
I don't know what would happen, man. I cannot wait to throw out that Xbox positivity to the community. Let's do this, man.
What if Xbot played a good Halo game?
Oh,
I play them all, sir.
We're going to get there. Don't get him started. This could be the Xbot show if we go into that rant. Let me go to my next guest, Senora Bombastic. He watches, plays, and buys everything. Boom. Welcome to the show, buddy. How are you?
Thanks so much. Yeah, this is going to be a great show, and I am not wearing my white gloves.
All right. Well, thank you for that. I thought he was going to say pants, but I was like, pants always beats no pants.
That's the way I play PUBG. No pants. That's
no
the
pants.
only way to go, man.
He folds them and keeps them on a hanger next to the couch. Very cool. Very cool.
Fire, you never know.
Just so you guys know, our usual suspects, Clowns is not feeling so well, but he will be back next week. And Alan's traveling again.
Yes.
The traveling man, the reporter, he will be back next week. So, Alan, safe travels to you, buddy. Let's go down to, we got 3 guests, 3 very, very cool guests here with us tonight. Let me start with the man with the million himself, Rand Althor. Rand, welcome back to Crossfire, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me back on. Changing my tagline to the man, the mediocre man, because that's kind of catching some play now. So
yeah,
that's Randall Thor 19, the mediocre man.
The mediocre man. That's the reception nowadays in the Xbox community. That's what's happening. Rand's like, no comment.
No comment.
That's cool. Well, I can't do it any justice. I can't do anything like Xbot 448, but I will try my best. The one, the only, the Don. Don, welcome to Crossfire, buddy. How are you? There it is.
All right. Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. And I don't get a chance to do Crossfire that often, so I'm glad to be here. So.
Very cool, Don. Good to have you here, buddy, to get your expertise on certain subjects. And last but certainly not least, the man known as the producer, J-Dubs of M&C Mornings. Jay, welcome, buddy. How are you? And welcome back since the first episode.
All hail Jay.
Thanks for having me. I heard that you guys were missing Clowns tonight, and you needed that token silent guy in the corner. So
with dogs barking. Can you give us dogs barking too?
Yes, we need that.
I can't. I haven't trained them to do it on demand, but I guarantee they will bark several times. Guaranteed.
And the calzone joke too.
Yes,
you got to do a calzone joke.
Yeah.
Well,
we call them Panzerati's here.
I do want to say this because Craps taught me, and he's telling me this is what you got to do, folks. Hit the like button. There's plenty of people in here.
Early and often.
Hit it early and often. Yes. And listen, I know a lot of you are going to say, Mooch, please, let's not get into the whole God of War thing. But listen, I've got the opportunity. It's only a week out. It has been talked about in the media for 2 weeks because of the embargo lift. But it's only been out for about a week. And, I've got some great people on the panel that have played it. They've reviewed it. And I'm actually interested. I have yet to finish it. And I don't care. They can say what they want. All I'm saying is this. I haven't finished it. I'm very interested. I'm going to start with one of our guests, Rand. Rand, you, along with basically the internet, gave this game a perfect score.
I wasn't the only one. Someone else in this panel did too.
No. Oh, absolutely. Believe me, he's next on my list to ask. What
Brilliant
what was
game.
this?
Brilliant.
What gives a game a 10 out of 10 out of when Rand is judging? You know what I mean?
That's a good question because, you know, we all like different things, right? But God of War did everything. God of War was like everything I wanted in a video game. You know, a strong story, great characters, great voice acting, great music, incredible gameplay, you know, ridiculous cutscenes, a great setting with like interesting lore. Like it had everything. I mean, I played it for 3 days, roughly 12 hours a day. Until I
did it have robots? Did it have robots?
No, it didn't have robot, but it did have a world serpent. You know,
see that loses
you
a
gotta
point
take away
right
for
there.
no robots, man.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it could have robots in the next one, but it looked incredible. I ran it in performance mode on my Pro. I tried both, and I gotta have the frames every time, man. It just doesn't feel right going like playing resolution mode and then going right to performance mode and back and forth. Like I gotta have the extra frame. I did the same thing in Shadow of the Colossus.
Really? So you decided you elected for the 1080p with the actual frames?
Yeah, because it's just
frame boost.
It feels weird playing in resolution mode, going right after playing in performance mode. I've said this from the very start. I'll always take more frames over higher resolution. Or better performance, I should say.
All right. So, what was the one thing that? And I'm like I said, I'm not even done yet, but I'm going to add my 2 cents at the end. What's the one thing that stood out? Because first of all, you're a tough critic. Okay, everyone knows that. You don't throw 10s out. You don't throw 9s out. So what was the element of like surprise? There's always an oh shit moment when you're playing a 10 out of 10. That was like, okay, that's it. Even if I don't finish it and like the end, I'm still giving this a 10. What was that moment? You ever remember it by chance?
It was the entire experience. Like, I compared it to BioShock 1 for me because even though I knew people gave the game like high regard, I didn't know why because I didn't read any reviews. I was like, okay, people seem to like this game, but I have no idea why they like it. And the only trailers and media I saw for it were the story trailers and then that leaked gameplay for it, right? So I was like, okay, I have no idea what else is involved in the game. Similar to BioShock 1, where I had BioShock 1 a week early. Because I don't know if you guys recall, Kmart, you know, was selling it early by mistake. I was able to get my hands on a copy. So I'm playing BioShock 1, and my mind is literally like on the, you know, blown, jaw on the floor, and all the twists that are going on the gameplay. No reviews are out, so I'm thinking I'm crazy. Like, I'm playing this, you know, BioShock. I'm thinking I'm crazy because I'm like, this is like the best gaming experience I've had in forever, right? I'm like, does anybody else feel like this? But like no reviews are out yet. So I was like, oh, maybe it's just me. But of course it wasn't. It was like that because I wasn't spoiled. So all the boss fights, the really emotional moments that happen in the game, because I'm not going to spoil it for anybody. The different things that you do in the game, it just was like as close to perfection as you can get for me in the type of games I enjoy. That's why I gave it a 10 out of 10.
There's an interesting part to this game. And no, that's a great answer, Rand. There's an interesting part to this game where it's not linear. You know, it's not as linear as an Uncharted because it does have those breakaway areas to go and look for whether it be the puzzle chests or it be, you know, breakaways to get something else, or if it's just the monetary value that they have in the game. Regardless, there's a lot of these things you can do. However, the environment itself does keep you somewhat contained. And I mean, it is an interesting thing because for me, someone like myself, I'm having a hard time putting it into words, and I haven't given it a grade or anything like that. But I'll tell you something. It's hitting very close to perfection. Now, let me turn it over to Crap.
Well, hold on.
You gave it a 10.
One more point.
No, please, Rand.
And I think Crap will agree with me on this. It literally takes all the great things about the great PlayStation exclusives and jettisons the bad stuff from them, right?
Yeah, that's what I said in my review too. I was like, you know what? People know I'm not a Last of Us fan. I'm not a Horizon Zero Dawn fan. I feel like those both had clunky controls, and this eliminated that. And I felt like the characters were much better, and the voice acting in particular was much better in this than Horizon Zero Dawn. And they made you care much more about it. So, yeah, like for me, it got rid of the stuff that I didn't like about those other games, but kept the stuff that was really cool about those other games and kind of expanded on that. They did a really good job with it.
Yeah, like I said on the show on Wednesday with Jez, it's one part Last of Us, story and narrative. Obviously, clearly inspired by Last of Us. You have a father and son going on a journey, very similar to Joel and Ellie, right? Then you have another part, the AAA over-the-top action set pieces from Uncharted 4, but times 1,000 because Kratos is a god, right? And then you take the world building of Horizon Zero Dawn, right? That aspect of it, throw it in a pot, add Kratos, and God of War is what you get.
Yeah,
that's a good point. I do
So
agree with
what you're calling it is a Sony goulash.
I mean, it's them perfecting their blueprint. It's what every single first party development studio is going to come out with under the Sony umbrella. And then
let me give a shout out real quick. Crap, I know I'm going to do your. Let me pay the bills real quick. But Rock Dog 31 says we've heard this all week. Please stop. Rock, listen real quick. We're doing this is just kind of let everyone kind of shuffle in and get their seat warm. We have a lot of Microsoft E3 stuff to talk about and other things. But I am very interested in hearing the differences between two people that review games all the time in Crap Gamer and Rand, and seeing how they both came up with 10s and how they maybe came to them at different points. So go ahead, Crap.
Well, you know what's funny is like a lot of people assume that a 10 means that the game can't have any problems whatsoever. There was some stutter in mine. Like I thought like a lot of the enemies were cloned. I mean, there was a lot of little things, but overall, like just the epicness of the game itself kind of won out in the story, and and I think that, and the music, the music was just phenomenal in that game, and it was a really, I just really enjoyed the way that they kind of redid that, just the way, like I used to like Tomb Raider, right? I thought it was okay, or it was pretty good, and then they did the Tomb Raider reboot, and it was like cinematic and wow, that's what this was, and that was the closest thing that I could compare to. Was I liked God of War before, and now it's just this whole amazing thing, and and the way that they tease stuff for a potential sequel, which they will do. Also, I want to say that I love the fact that there was no season pass. There was no loot boxes. There was no microtransactions, no crates, no grinding. You know what I mean? You just go through the game and you have fun. Like, as much as I like stuff like Assassin's Creed Origins, they had you grind your ass off in that game, and that brought down the fun. Right. So it's so nice and refreshing to see. And Cory Barlog has done this before and even said it. If we would have done a season pass, it would have meant that we had DLC planned before and we cut it off. So we didn't want to do that. There's no DLC for this game. Everything they put their heart, their soul, everything into it, and it shows. And
I want to say that
Crap.
I think that's a valid point. Salty in the chat says nothing is perfect, and I will say this much. It's funny because a lot of people now say, and I'm with Salty on that, and I'm going through and I'm like, the one thing, and Predator just said it too. Shout out to Pred. The one thing I found that's not perfect is the I'm going to use this word, but I have to contradict myself right afterwards. Is the repetitiveness? There is a lot of repetitive fighting, but at the same time, it feels so good when you're doing
satisfying,
it. It is. You know what I mean? Boom. Like I'm doing it over and over and over. But every time I do it, I for some reason I'm pumped because what you're doing. You're locking in. You're throwing the axe. Then you go over, pick it up. Maybe you throw it. Maybe you don't. Or you throw it. You hold the guy frozen. You go over. You beat him with your bare fists in rage. Then you grab it back and slam him. Then you can And then as the abilities increase and increase, you can split these dudes in half, tear them apart. Like it is repetitive, but it's just awkwardly satisfying when you're playing the game.
I am going to say this. When you throw that axe and catch it back, the rumble in the controller is flawless. Like, you really feel like you're catching the axe.
Yes.
Okay? And when
I have a sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, Boom, but I don't get to talk a lot.
3 sentences.
Quiet down, discount clowns. You're talking a little bit too much.
Okay. I'm admittedly a God of War virgin. I might have played God of War 1 on the PS2. Was it on PS2? Maybe PS3. I don't know. PS2. Anyway, I may have played it briefly. Never really got into it. There you go. There's the dog.
He did it. Nice.
Take Kratos out of the game, replace him with Thor. What makes this a God of War game?
Makes it a new IP.
Yeah, Rand, you actually said that in your I think it was Wednesday. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Could have been a brand new IP.
Yeah.
I mean, literally sub out Kratos for a new character, and it's a brand new IP.
Yes, and it's a win for Sony once again.
To be honest with you, that's what I wish they did.
Oh,
I mean,
here's the thing. I like the old God of War. That was something unique in the portfolio they had, and now they the game resembles more of other games on the market than God of War. So, I'm not knocking on the game. I don't think it's a bad game or anything like that. But I've been trying to judge my interest in the game, and this one's on the back burner for me. Not because it's a bad game or anything like that, but because I'm so invested in the original character, and I don't like the kid. Every time I try to watch it, gameplay, the kid unsells me on the game. And don't let my judgment dictate if you guys should buy the game or not. Go ahead and buy the game and all that good stuff.
Don, you know what, Don? Listen, I gotta piggyback to your point, because I'm shocked that Crap is such a fan of it, because I thought this would vary his opinion on score, because the things that annoy him about Ellie in
that
the last
kid was only annoying.
This kid's got
first.
This kid's doing the whole daddy issues thing, and there's a little bit of that in there too. And it's like, all right, I think it's a very compelling story.
Yeah, right. This, you got to remember, he said it so many times during the game that the kid's complaining. If mom was here and she's dead. And he's off doing his own thing. He's warring, so it's the interaction between the two. There's a tenseness, almost like they're strangers at times,
right?
And that's fantastic storytelling. I mean, look, like I said, we're all gonna gush. I mean, some people like it, some people love it, some people think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. But you know what?
Right.
At the end of the day,
some people,
at the end of the day, this is a gigantic W for Sony. And it makes Microsoft look even worse because, unfortunately, it does, dude. It does.
Here's something about God of War, that it does. The industry's starving for a good single player campaign, right? And I don't want that to take away from God of War's success, but it hit at a right time for them, and not just for PlayStation owners, just gaming in general.
Yeah, just the overall gaming. Yes.
Yeah, so this is a problem on all platforms that are going on, except for PlayStation, because that's what they do. But it's been a while since the last one. What was the last major story game? Uncharted 4?
Uncharted 4 was, right? I mean...
No. I guess Horizon Zero Dawn, which was the previous year.
You can say Horizon Zero Dawn. But that one's a little bit different formula, right? So it didn't quite hit, the high points that, God of War does, because Horizon Zero Dawn had good storylines, and they had the side missions that kind of killed it a little bit. This is, from what I hear from people like God of War, it's pretty much solid through and through on the story, right?
Yes, so far. So I haven't beaten it yet, so I
kind of like what Don was saying before with with the other God of Wars, the games that came before this one, they had a unique perspective hack and slash type game. And, after seeing gameplay and stuff like that, I feel, me personally, I feel like they watered that down a little bit and followed a certain formula that's been working for them this generation. But me personally, I would have rather had them move forward and evolve like that the older style of God of War just brought to this generation.
See, it's interesting, Xbox, because that old model is what kept me from liking God of War. I just, to me, that got really
different
boring.
Gamers are going to like different things, right? And when it comes down to it, you can see that there's a lot of people out there who bought the game that enjoy the game. And you know what? I shout out to all you guys. You put your money down on a game, you're enjoying it, you're getting your money's worth. Right. Me, myself, I didn't feel like I had to get this day one for two reasons. One reason is exactly what I said. I'm a little iffy about, this new direction because I just got into the God of War 3 remastered and everything like that. And I have a blast playing that type of game. And my other thing is everybody talks single player experiences. Now, my experience with this is I don't have to get it day one because there's no DLC coming on down the road, at least not yet announced or anything like that. And it's a true single player game. So I can get in and immerse myself in this game whenever I want to. To me, there's no need. There's no multiplayer element. There's nothing where I rank up in playing with my friends or anything like that. So I don't necessarily have to grab this day one or week 1 or week 4.
Well, the thing about it is, listen, here's the thing, and I agree with you, and I want to say something because a long time ago I had this debate on Xbox Nation. I always said that if you don't like it, you don't like what you see, Xbox, I'm not going to sit here and convince you because I already believe and take your word for it that you don't like it. However, I will say this much: the old "knock it till you don't knock it till you try it" comes into play, especially for YouTubers and for people on social media that have a certain impact. Because the problem is that if I actually think, I don't know. I think you would actually like this game just because I know how much you love nonstop. The one thing you love is nonstop action. This game has it. Go ahead.
Well, one thing there, Mooch, is like when we look at these sort of things, it's important to like look at it from a perspective. We're judging our interest, not that we like the game or not. There's a difference there, right? And I think a lot of times there are people that are out there that want to judge if they like a game just by watching gameplay. I'm not one of those people. I truly believe you have to try it. So all my prejudgments are just my interest in the game. I think that would be the same for Xbox, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I talk about this and I talk about this game or whatever, I put it out there. This is my opinion. I think we all have kind of like common disclaimers. This is how I feel, and this is what I thought, and stuff like that. At the end of the day, we can't talk for everybody else. If everybody out there is having a blast with this, there are games. Halo 3, for instance, right? You know I'm a Halo guy. Halo 3 is not on the top of my list of Halos. And when I say that to Halo fans, they look at me, oh my goodness, like I do declare, like they're going to pass out on the front porch down south somewhere because.
But don't forget though, Xbot. Now I will say this much: this is in your portfolio. One thing you did say was that you weren't a big fan of Destiny. Then you played it and you're like, wow, I am. And you have plenty of shooter experience. It's not like you needed to play Destiny to know what a shooter felt like, but you ended up liking it. And since you like that high octane action type game, it is like Don said, where you really should go play this because and listen, there was somebody in the chat here, MK48 says, no, Mooch, you don't have to tell. I'm not telling players to play it. I'm telling Xbot because I actually sit on a panel with him minimum once a week. So what I'm saying to you is that like someone that I talk to about video games, you get to know people. You know what I mean? I know what crap likes and doesn't like after all these years. I even know what Rand likes, doesn't like to a certain extent. And I could see if they would say, I would say, and this is a game that I know Xbot would probably like, can't speak love. Don't know they'll love it, but you'll like it.
Check this out, Mooch. I wish this game had come out on Xbox because with me, my name on YouTube and social media and stuff like that, people automatically assume that I was just going to hate on it. Now, in my world, this is like a perfect storm for I don't have to buy until the price drops because first off, I'm not into Norse mythology. I like the Egyptian. I can go Greek, Roman, stuff like that. Norse is not really top on my list, and I get into mythology type things, and Norse was just never high up there. So that's one strike. Again, that single player element, that would be strike 2, and then. With what I'm saying they're doing over at Sony with like this kind of like standard blueprint and they're kind of spreading it across first party development in terms of games and stuff. I'm not really a fan of that either. I like a varied first party portfolio and whatnot. That's why I'm excited for like the rumors of Fable coming back because that's, that expands the Xbox kind of like variety for the first party and stuff like that. And so that's like strike 3 for me. And I don't have to pick this game up. And I feel really bad for the people out there on social media that feel like they're, people are pressuring them that they have to like this game and they have to play this game. And you're crazy. You're not a gamer.
That's a totally different conversation.
I do want to point this out too. A lot of Xbox dudes are just hardcore Xbox dudes and they just like, I won't play it. I'm not going to do it because of that, right?
Ridiculous.
It is. It's like, look, a great game is a great game.
Yep.
It's a fantastic game, and I'm not a person that's like I said, I didn't care for The Last of Us. I didn't care for Horizon Zero Dawn. I think this is Sony's first big, true blockbuster this generation. This is their first game that wowed me this entire generation. So take that for what it's worth. This game is something that I feel like most people should play if they enjoy single player cinematic experiences. And, great game. Now I'm back on to the Xbox. I put in my time and It's like why it's good to have both consoles, and it's like good for them. They put this out. Maybe it lights a fire under Microsoft's ass a bit to do something.
I agree.
Who knows?
Good point.
But I mean, if you're Microsoft and you're looking at your returns right now, you're going, not really.
Well, let me take that conversation and move on to another subject, and I'll also save one of our viewers here. Rock, we're moving on from God of War if he's still here. Rock wanted out of that conversation quickly. Let's move that over. Crap says, I hope Microsoft's taking note. Well, here's the thing. I thought for the past week when I saw the success of God of War, I thought that Microsoft would be taking note. But then I saw 3-4 tweets come out from the big executives over the past couple of days, and they're all talking about their quarterly earnings and look how good we did, and stocks are up, and I'm going to buy a boat. I don't know, whatever. The point of the matter is here, and that's why I kind of named the title. I think it's a great debate. What Microsoft's doing, and I've said this now for 3 weeks, so people have to stop. Don't just run and go, Xbox podcasters say. Well, that's kind of a very large generic group of. You got to be a little bit more. I've always said Microsoft's making money. They're doing very well. Yeah. Okay. But do they have their players' best interests? That's where the topic comes. Right. And that's where the topic kind of comes up. So myself, and I'm going to turn it over to the panel, I was a little bit more alarmed over the past week when I saw, or past 24 to 48 hours, when I saw them all being like, hey, stocks are up. We're making money. People who doubted us are making cash. Well, listen, just like we don't care about PS4 sales, personally, I also don't give a shit that the executives' dividends split and they're making double their money next week. I don't give a shit. That doesn't affect me. So I don't care that they're making. I want them to make money, because if they don't make money, they're not going to make games. But like, I didn't really care to see the executives talking about how they made some. Let's talk about games, guys. I want the marketing guy to tell me commercials, events, platforms, things that are coming out. We're doing this in England. We're doing this over here in Asia. We're doing this in New York. And I want to see, Mike talk about features and this and that. And all I got yesterday was stocks are up. So what I want to turn to the panel. Go ahead.
I was going to say, with that whole thing, what about like Mikey Barra tweeting out the picture of the Statue of Rise? What about, Phil Spencer, when it came to hiring that dude Gallagher, saying there's more coming at E3? So on the wider scope, they are kind of like teasing and stuff like that. But we are less than 2 months.
Listen, again, everybody.
Rise thing was not a tease. By
the Rise thing's not a tease. First of all,
confirmed that. Yeah, and that's a shame.
Number two.
But it wasn't about his
I'm not going to get excited.
Yeah, I'm saying.
No, his paycheck was yesterday. The Rise thing was 3 days ago. So what I'm saying to you, though, is, and then I'm not going to get excited because they're bringing in a guy who's going to make a game that's coming out in 4 years. So what I'm saying to you is that, like, I like, that's not what I'm like. Realistically, we want to see like them talk about, like, we've had 4 years, and I'm not gonna. This show's not about me.
Crap has said it in the beginning. Like, this E3 is the last one where we completely talk about this generation. And so when it comes down to it, Don might have something to say on that. But when it comes down to it, right?
That was Rand.
Oh, that was Rand.
Yeah.
All right, but when it comes down to it, we got stuff coming at E3. I don't understand. Like, we could do without.
Do we really?
Dude, I even think the lineup that we know that's coming out now is good, man.
Dude, I'm sorry to say, brother, you are the damage control has. Why is it damage control when because
I'm
dude, you
excited
can't,
for
you,
when I'm excited for State of Decay, when I'm excited for Crackdown, when I'm excited for a new Forza Horizon, when I'm playing Sea of Thieves, I'm not just saying it's good. I'm playing the game. How can you tell me that it's damage control for me being excited?
Because dude, the problem is that you can't turn around. I mean, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I'm not telling you what your opinion is. I'm saying that
you told me it was damage control.
Because it is. Because you're.
How is it damage control? Me saying I'm excited.
No. What I'm trying to explain, and if you just give me a second to kind of just let myself out there, okay, I'll let you know exactly what I mean. The problem with what you're saying is that you have a laid-back, satisfied attitude, and I'm sorry to say Xbox gamers are tired of waiting. And if they don't bring it this E3, you can expect – listen, Crap said it last week that if they don't get their shit together, he's going to really consider about just supporting one console the next generation. The crap gamer we're talking about over here. So
but
if
that's his preference. That's
it is his preference. But you know what, dude? He is speaking for the majority of the people who are thinking that they're tired of waiting.
He's speaking his opinion. Dude, how is it? Crap! When did you get that pin or whatever? You get the scissors that cut the ribbon.
Well, hold on. I can only speak for myself, exactly. and I've kind of made it clear that if Microsoft decides to do the whole forward compatibility stuff, then that's really little to no incentive to upgrade. And in fact, I feel like it would hold back games. And if Sony's like, "Hey, no forward compatibility with our shit," then that's much more incentive to get a true leap with that system over the next Xbox. So I mean, it really kind of depends, you know. Like a lot.
You prefer a console that forces you versus give you a choice?
Actually, you know, as weird as it sounds, I feel like I guess. I mean, it's more.
I'll be honest with you. I don't. Anyone that doesn't do forwards and backwards compatibility, and we don't know which console or game we're going to be doing it, right? But
yeah,
we have hints of it. I think if one console does and the other one doesn't, they lose. They straight up lose because the install base outweighs anything once you've done that. And if they both do forwards and backwards compatibility, then Sony stays in the lead. That's really what it boils down to there.
Right.
Yeah, but they can do backwards compatibility. But guess what?
They're definitely doing backwards compatibility with PS5.
Because Sony is Sony. Right, and they go PlayStation 5, and Microsoft's going to have to come up with some bullshit name for their next Xbox because they named them weird.
Yeah, well, that's on them.
People are going to drop what they're doing to pick up a PS5.
Yes,
they're not going to drop what they're doing to pick up an Xbox One, 2.
Yeah, I got to agree, Don, because Don, what you're saying is something that's very textbook, and I think what you're saying has a lot of merit to it. However, as I've said a number of times over the years, the gaming industry is unlike any other business I've ever looked into in my life. Usually bad press still equates to good things for a company. Not in this business. So when you say that, right, when you're like forward, because he said it himself, he goes, if one of them allows forward and backward, it already has a heavy install base. That one would proceed and move forward
software sales,
like a nonstop locomotive, right? I agree with him. However, what Crap just said, the minute he said that, boom, it was like music to my ears. The minute you tell a Sony PS4 diehard or someone that has it that they can't play Uncharted 5 unless they have a PS5, it doesn't matter. They're going to go buy the machine.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. Well, let me give you this. So if you have third party, though, right? You have third party, and you can buy that third party on anything. PS5. Let's say it's only on PS5. You have to buy a separate version for PS4. This is all hypothetical, guys, right? Or it expands across all your platforms. You don't have to buy a new console. You're just going to buy the game. The problem is the console always stands in way of these companies and what they're trying to do, right? So every time you do a hard reset, you know, the fight, you know, there's also a fight for exclusives. And as hardcore gamers, we all like that, right? I don't want to ignore that. But the real fight is getting the majority of the people to buy third party on your console. That's where the real money is made for all these guys. And so they have to stay relevant. They're going to be competing in the hardware space. But the difference is, I look from the backside too. I don't see any reason why, we're looking at technology that's going to be out 2 or 3 years down the road. I don't see any reason why that technology can't be scaled. And I think, honestly, God of War is probably the biggest argument for that, right? Because if you look at God of War visually and what it looks like on base consoles, this is what I've been saying for a while, we haven't even tapped at what these base consoles can do. And there's quite a bit more we can squeeze out of them. So the way I look at it is, if you can't do forwards and backwards compatibility, you have to start over and the other person's got a head start. Like, if you look at it from this perspective, if X is forwards and backwards compatible, Microsoft has a year head start already.
People can't really say.
They're going to have the lesser hardware, though. And, like, it brings up a lot of questions, like compatibility when you play online games. And
and then they have to address all those, and we'll see where those lie. I mean, I don't think those have to be ignored.
The only 2 reports that I've seen, Don, are probably ones that you've already seen. The one report about the PlayStation 5 says that they're going, 12 T-flops or something. It's going to be a quote-unquote true next-gen leap, and it's only going to play PS5 games that'll be backwards compatible, whereas the Brad Sam's one was...
Just so you know, where a lot of that's generated from what developers want, because they get a lot of pushback on
Yeah.
That the API, and basically the whole development community wants Sony to change their API.
Well done. Like you're a developer. Like I'm always curious about this. Okay, because look, Microsoft has these grand ideas, right? And a lot of them are good. And like you say, that's consumer friendly to do what they say. And I'm old school, so I'm like, I want to buy something, and I want to feel like that's a true leap, right?
Yeah.
And it's not always. Let's be honest, it's not always the case with the Xbox One X, right? Like I can tell you right now, you play
true leaps going forward. That's where I mean I think that's what gamers need to prepare themselves for, right?
Yeah, it's not photorealism for what 10 years or whatever.
Yeah, like here's the thing: is like all the stuff we got today can be scaled, right? So because of that, games are made the same way like 8 years ago as they are today, and they're going to be made the same going forward. So if you look at it from that perspective, like the huge things like normal mapping, that happened last year, right? Certain type of lighting effects that started next year. We just got a higher fidelity of that stuff, right? You start getting stuff like you're gonna get ray tracing in different forms and different levels and stuff like that. Not everything's gonna be like that Star Wars tech demo, but you can get that to a certain degree, right? So it's gonna be a slow progression. Things are gonna gradually just get better looking, but you're not gonna have that Gears of War moment like when you pop Gears of War 1 in. I don't think that's gonna happen anymore. Going forward, because all the technology we have in games today,
sucks.
Well, and I know it kind of sucks, but all the technology we have in games today, to be honest with you, is the same technology to use for movie special effects. We have all that stuff now, just to a different level, to a different degree. So it's going to be a slow progression to get there. That's just what it boils down to.
Well, let me ask you this then, Don. Like, okay, say Sony's like, ours is only playing PlayStation 5 games. Isn't that easier for developers than Microsoft, who's going to go, okay, guys, you're going to have to develop for Xbox One, Xbox One S, Xbox One X, and Xbox Two.
Well,
right?
it depends on the dev kit, right? That's
but I understand that. But let me ask you this though: do they risk alienating developers from not wanting to do all that bullshit work and just work on Sony's platform?
I don't think that will happen because the install base outweighs all that, right? So you always go where the install base, even if you hate the platform, you always go there, right? So the other thing that you run into, it's really about developing proper tools. A lot of the negative feedback that Microsoft got early on this generation from developers, because their development kit sucked.
Yeah,
that's the harsh reality. You know, we can say it now because it's better, but in retrospect, it was not very good at launch.
Can you guys please stop saying the word developers over and over again? I keep wanting to push my sound effect.
That's a good one. I like that.
Oh no, Mamir's back. Hey, Rand, let me get Rand in here because Rand, listen. In all honesty, just from a gaming perspective, I mean, Don is a developer. Don't hit the button, Jay. And you know, and crap would have been a great detective. My whole thing is, where do you come from on your angle? I mean, you have both systems now. It was interesting, you know, you go back 2 years ago and I was like, Rand, what do you think about this? You're like, well, Mooch, here's my opinion, but in all honesty, I don't have a PS4. If PS5 is you must buy this console, what's your take on that from a consumer/gamer's perspective?
Well, what do you mean by must buy?
Like you have to buy PS5 to play Uncharted 5. Do you think that's that? And Microsoft says they're going to go ahead and make it forward and backward compatible.
I'm kind of with crap on the aspect, and I've always looked, and I've had this conversation with people at Xbox, right? For me, a generation is defined by the exclusives that are only available on that platform. You move from Xbox to 360 because Halo 2's, you know, or because Halo 3 is only on 360, right? You move to Xbox One because Gears 4 is only on Xbox One. So like okay, because like, Don mentioned this earlier. Look at God of War. Look what God of War does on a base PS4, right? A base PS4. Imagine what God of War 2 would look like if it was just made for the base PS5. You know, right? Like how much better would it look? I've always been of the opinion like you get a new system for the exclusive experiences on that system.
Mm-hmm. I know, but that's the traditional way of thinking.
Oh, I know. I know it's the traditional way.
We haven't dealt with anything that's forwards and backwards compatible yet in a console. You can't really say.
Let me say this though. Like, look at Forza Horizon 2. Look at the leap we got from 2 to 3, and 2 was cross-platform. That stuff holds it back. Like the worlds, the AI. I mean, you can scale it all day, sure, lower the resolution and the detail. But at the end of the day, that old hardware is still going to hold back that new hardware.
Well, not necessarily, because all the games that we have developed today on the hardware we have are developed on pieces that are way more powerful than what we have under our television. So that's always been the case. Like, for example, my game has 8K texture assets, right? Now,
put it out like that, man.
Can I scale that can I transfer that straight to an Xbox One X? No, it's not going to be able to handle it, right? So I'm going to have to scale that down. But those assets do already exist, right? And I'm not the only person that, big developers do the same thing, right? As the next couple of years, that number is going to bump up quite a bit as well. So that's what I'm saying. Like, all this stuff starts on much more powerful hardware. It's always been scaled down. The fact that we have similar architectures across the board, that's the big hurdle, and that's going to be what we're dealing with. And there's a reason why they're hiring that guy that was going to do. Well, they haven't hired anyone yet, but that job outlet for the RAM. They're very specific about making sure it works across the board. Yeah.
You pulled the Rand.
You call it Rand.
But they try to make sure it plays across all hardware. That's intentional, right?
Well, right, because that is Microsoft's future. That's their strategy. Like, people forget about this. Like, Microsoft, like, even you can spin this to the whole Halo on PC thing, and people are like, "Oh, the Halo's on PC. What does that mean? It devalues the Xbox." If you've been living under a rock, Microsoft's strategy going forward is literally you can play the game that you want on any device that you want to play it on, and backwards and forwards compatibility. It fits in with that whole strategy. So you could, say the next Fable comes out and it's both forward and back compatible, right? Microsoft only cares about where you buy the game. It's whether it's on the brand new Xbox 2 with the best graphics possible. Maybe it's on an Xbox One X. Maybe it's on an Xbox One. Maybe it's on the app on your TV. Maybe it's on the app on your PC. Maybe it's on Windows 10. They don't care. As long as you're playing the game on whatever device do you have. That's their strategy.
Exactly. Right? Well, here's the latest hardware just keeps people from abandoning ship because they get bored, right? There's people that can play hardware for 8 years and are happy. There's other people like myself that, I'm 3 or 4 years invested and I'm looking for the latest and greatest, right?
Yeah.
I love the 360 for a year and a half, and I'm looking at a new one right now.
I love the 360 generation, to be honest with you. That was like, they were cranking out games faster than ever,
all over the place.
Yeah, it was like, for me, it was like, you get 3 Dead Spaces, 3 Mass Effects, 3 Halos,
Bioshock,
3 Gears, 3 Bioshock. We were getting games, boom, 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 and now it's like that's kind of backed off. And and I have to be honest, when you play some games on the Xbox One X, even games that are X enhanced, I play on a 4K HDR TV, you kind of go, what's the deal? And same thing with PS4 Pro, right? Like, only on the exclusives do I really notice a bigger difference. And I think that's where they have a little bit of an advantage over the Xbox. But like, when I play Forza Motorsport 7 on an Xbox One X, that shit looks great, just like on an Xbox One S, and there's other games like that too, which makes me scratch your head. Well, did they take full advantage of it? Or like, when these next generation things come out, like, what are we going to see? Is it like, maybe you're right, maybe we don't need well,
that's a good point. Let me take Crap. Let me add. No, you're right, and you're the one that had the conversation. Don, I got to ask you. What Crap's saying, I'll reiterate it again. He had said to me, because he had gotten Forza 7 before the X came out. We all know it came out in 2 months.
I played the first.
You were
2
amazing.
Things. Yeah.
I watched your clips. Crap, everything was fantastic. I go, wow, this game looks amazing. Yeah. And then after the X came out, I wrote him, because this is the first time I played Forza 7 was with the X, and I said, Crap, this game looks amazing. He goes, it's stellar, Mooch. But he goes, I got to tell you, I've been playing this game for 2 months, and it looked pretty comparable on the S. So, Don, does in fact you do get a little held back because of the fact you have that older hardware?
So you guys are looking at 2 different things. Like, what I'm trying to say is, like, these big jumps in hardware are going to end up small differences that people are going to notice. And that's a perfect example of it.
Yeah.
For me, like, that's what I do. I do 3D graphics all the time. Like, that's mostly my wheelhouse, right?
That's his bag, baby.
Exactly.
That's his bag.
That's his bag, baby.
And when I play the Forza Motorsport on the X and I go to an S, like, I can't stand it. Like, and this is just me. Like, the draw distance is where I really notice it. And I know other people that play that game probably more than I do. And they're like, it looks pretty good on the S, and they're happy with it. So that's where you're gonna see a lot of this sort of stuff, and I don't think it undersells exclusives. Exclusives do matter. Graphically intensive games do matter. Story-based games do matter. So just as much as I'm happy with certain things that are on Xbox, doesn't mean I don't want those things, right?
Yeah.
And you do need those things to show off your hardware. But I think that's what you're going to get. I mean, here's the thing: is like you talk about.
You mean an XCOM Gears game isn't going to show off the hardware?
Oh my gosh, I love Gears, but please don't do that. Please don't do that.
Seatbelt on, Don. It's gonna be a rocky road.
Oh, I know. I feel like it's going to be. What was that Gears game that they had? What is it? People Can Fly make.
Oh, that was the
Judgment.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. See, I tried to wipe that from my memory. That's why I can remember it. So,
hey, but at least it was a proper Gears game, though.
No, it was not.
I mean,
I gotta say this: Gears Judgment was the only Gears game that I've managed to re-up like so many times. I think I re-upped like 4 times or 5 times on that game. So
what I mean by proper Gears game is that it was just a third-person cover shooter. It was a Gears game, you know.
It was
a Gears XCOM game wouldn't necessarily be a traditional Gears game, you know. Like, we'll see if it happens.
Hey, Rand, let me ask you this real quick, and then we can go back to Don. Does it seem a little bit odd that XCOM tends to be really big on PC, and same thing with like RTSs, hence Halo Wars.
Right.
So, do you think maybe that's an agenda there?
I don't think so. I think they're trying, if true, I think they're trying to bring their bigger IPs into a different genre. I mean, Mario vs. Rabbids is basically an XCOM game, is it not?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
And it sold extremely well.
Yeah, it was an excellent game too. Very well made.
The thing is, it's like, while I may not be interested in a Gears XCOM game, if it was really good, I might be. You know, that's the thing. It's like, make what you want, but please be really good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, don't be half-assed. I absolutely.
Here's the thing: like Halo Wars 2 was really good. I like that. The problem is like I'm very aware of what a lot of the community are asking for, and I feel like if you announce, I know Scream Ride 2 isn't really a thing.
Damn it! Come on, Scream Ride 2 people.
If you see at E3 them announcing a Scream Ride 2 or XCOM Gears game,
people are going to lose.
That's not going to go over real well.
Well, we know that they need content for Game Pass, right?
Yeah.
We know that they need to fill the gap. We know that they need games to eventually get to the point where it doesn't seem like they've completely given up on this generation and everything is for next generation. So you make these smaller deals, with these devs to kind of build content for Game Pass. Like, is a Gears XCOM game? Could it be great? It absolutely could.
Oh,
be.
it could, dude. It could be great if you're into that type of game. You know,
right? And could the Halo spinoff I heard about that could be really well. It could be Xbox's favorite new Halo game for all we know. You know.
Yeah.
Well, probably. A lot of people didn't think that God of War over the shoulder camera that type of game was going to be popular, and look at it.
Yeah.
We took a chance.
We just don't know. We know Forza Horizon 4 is going to be great. I mean, I'll go out and say that right now. You already know.
Yeah.
Although, I don't know if you saw the rumor. Supposedly, it's not set in Japan anymore. It's set in the UK.
Yeah, I saw that. I did a video about it because it was very interesting to me. I don't know because, Alan Walsh should know much more about this stuff. He said maybe that it could take place in multiple places. So, I mean, I don't know. That would be kind of interesting.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Have the DLC actually in different areas, man.
I got to say, man, Forza Horizon 4 might be the first time that Game Pass actually gets something really, really busting with content and a highly rated game. Because, not that I don't love Sea of Thieves, and I think State of Decay 2 is going to be great. Crackdown 3.
He said crackhead. He was like Crackhead 3.
Crackdown 3, who knows? But Forza Horizon 4 is definitely one that I am looking forward to on the Xbox side later this year. Although that's Phil's big surprise though, Rand. I mean, he's got that.
I got a funny thing. We're going to be very surprised. I know we're all down on, like a lot of people are concerned, but I don't think Phil Spencer would have come out and said publicly that this is going to be the biggest E3 the company's ever had if it wasn't going to be true, guys. I mean,
they got an entire building for Connect 3. That's why they
and getting back to the Halo thing real quick before I lose my point, because I know Xbox is going to dig this. Listen, when ODST was announced, people were like, whoa, just a second. No Master Chief. And, I don't know about you guys, but it was I loved ODST. So if we get another Halo like that,
Dude, Reach was.
I'd rather get
hated on when it.
I'd rather get another Reach than another ODST.
Well,
but,
Reach, this is the thing when it comes to the Halo community, man. No matter what comes out, there's a big part of that community that's going to bitch and complain no matter what.
I know.
And then you
Expo,
a couple years later,
we talked about this.
Says they always say it's the biggest E3.
That's the thing. Phil's. It's funny because their advertising and their propaganda is really bad at when they're advertising their games, but then when they're boosting themselves up around E3, they do always say E3 is going to be fantastic.
Let's just say there's no way that they could get away with showing a bunch of indies and close the show with a
multi-plat. Right, correct. I agree.
Yeah. Well, what if they don't show any of the stuff that is far in the future? Like, what if they don't bother? Like, the thing I want to see most is I would love to see games coming out past 2019, right? Like,
I agree. Yeah,
but like
at least a teaser trailer of some.
Well, right. I'm like, but my fear is that they're gonna stay the course of what they always do and just announce stuff this year and next year, and that's it. And then you're still.
I totally agree.
My fear is that they don't tease the Fable, they don't tease a Perfect Dark, they don't tease all the stuff that's in the thing. Well, have to. I'm just like my fear, and I think crap will echo this fear, is that what I think they're going to show isn't going to satiate what people need to see or want to see. I think people will flip the
Where's the
fuck out.
disconnect? Rand, what's the disconnect between them saying they're listening, but they're only saying it and they're not actually
Phil's got a fear of showing games too early.
Yeah, but that's good.
I mean, after what happened?
You know what? I would, but then but you have to you can't have that. You know what I mean? Like you've got to.
Rand, you know when you watch these you watch like Hoosiers or any of these older movies that are like sports, and they're like, you know what? Let's just go for the 3 and go for the win. But the 2-pointer will tie. Sometimes you got to go for the 3-pointer, and I understand that the 2-pointer is the easy way to go with what Phil's saying. But he's got to go for the 3-point and win once. You know what I mean? He's been doing safe since he took office. God damn it. Put my mirror away.
Let me say something. Like, I'm cautiously optimistic about this E3. Again, I have the X, so my multi-plats all play and look best on there. I'm very excited about State of Decay 2. That game looks amazing. I'm very excited for Forza Horizon 4. Forza Horizon 3 was probably my favorite game of that year that came out a couple years ago, so obviously, I'm a big fan of that. Black Ops 4, I was excited about, so I heard all this nonsense. Now I'm not even getting it. But there's a lot of good games that are going to come out this year that'll be great on the X. What comes out next year, I don't know. I do think that Microsoft has these big plans, and then one of my things has always been you've got these things, but and I use this as a comparison on Twitter. Somebody that has a YouTube channel and has one video and goes, guess what? I'm making a second channel. Well, you have no content for your second channel.
Yeah, so you have no content for your first channel.
Yeah, if you have Game Pass, all this stuff, but you have no content except for some old-ass third-party games, that's not really going to drive your stuff. So they need more developers. They need more studios. Constantly going here's where they mess up. Constantly going with because we've heard that Playground Games' contract runs out for Forza Horizon. Who the hell is going to make the next one, right? These games have been.
They can always resign them.
I get that, but I'm just saying the big problem.
That's the free agent that you want to lock up for 10 years.
Exactly, and so basically, what happens is this: if you look at Crackdown 1 to Crackdown 2, there's a huge difference in quality between those two games, and the reason is because they don't own the developer.
Well, the reason also is they were given a year to make Crackdown 2.
Yeah.
Yes, that is correct.
And same thing with Fable 3. That suffered because they had very little time to make that, because Fable 2 was really good. People now realize that.
Yeah, it was excellent.
Yeah, so it's like that, but they don't own the developers, and so these developers can get busy with other projects. And
let's get back to what I want to talk about. Maybe the narrative here is that Xbox is coming out week after week after week. And don't get me wrong, everybody in the chat, listen, this is just a debate. It's a discussion. Nobody's bailing. Nobody's jumping ship.
Oh, I'm
gone.
What are you talking about? I left.
Rand left last week.
According to people, I left a long time ago, which is patently.
Yeah, you're gone, right?
I don't get some of that stuff.
Listen. I see Rand every night on Xbox, so I know he's not gone.
But I
do want to say this box.
I see people that claim their ponies on Xbox playing Gears for 12 hours a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, real quick, crap. Here's my thing. All we keep seeing is services, right? So we saw Game Pass. Now we hear the entire Xbox brass going and getting excited about Discord. And it's like, you know what? I mean, this is where you see the hardcore people saying, okay, Discord, Game Pass, PC is Xbox, Xbox is PC, hold hands, light a candle with your mouth. My whole thing is that, like, you know, it's like, why is it we're not hearing games? And then you hear stuff like people that are in the know that are all like Crap and Rand, and these guys are telling me just in hearsay, they just said it right now. They just said it right now that Phil would probably prefer to just mention what he's going to do in the next 18 months. And that's not long enough, considering Phil came out and said that they worked so hard to get the hardware out there behind, which, by the way, that just doesn't float with me personally. I'm not going to speak for the panel, but there's no way you had a hardware team put together working on the X diligently and didn't have somebody go, hey, boss, what are they going to play on this beauty? Oh, don't worry about it. Just keep working on the hardware. We're just going to, don't worry about it. Netflix is going to look gorgeous, baby. And, you know, it's like, no, that doesn't flow with me. That means when they started the workings for the X, there should have been a lot. Games should be coming out as of 2019 into 2020. And the concern right now is, I don't know if that's going to happen because I don't know if they have a firm grasp on either grabbing new talent or retaining their own.
Well, as far as like grabbing new talent, Rare just hired 100 people. Like Rare, during the development of Sea of Thieves, Rare was at 100 people. They're up to 200 now. They got the go ahead. You know, I've heard rumors that they're starting working on new IP, and then they have you know, like 100 people working on Sea of Thieves content, right? 343 is, from what I understand, way above 500.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know of a single studio that's not hiring from.
I mean, they're all hiring because they were given the green light to go, baby, next gen, like get it. Like Microsoft now sees Xbox and gaming as a growth area, whereas before maybe not so much.
I'm going to add to Rand saying, I know for a fact they've been aggressively going after this about a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I mean, I first heard about it about 7 months ago. But the thing is, and Don will tell you this because he's a developer, fucking shit takes a long time to make.
Yeah.
God of War literally took 5 years to make. Horizon Zero Dawn took 4 years to make.
So wait, but Rand, real quick. Rand, I just have to interrupt you for 1 second, though. But here's my problem with what you and Don just said. So a year and a half ago, let's use Don's because it's longer. Yeah. A year and a half ago, they got greenlit. Nobody at Xbox was like, hey, we need games before. I mean, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, who's over there? Like, why are you not? You can't have a division. Go ahead.
I want to ask a question. So when did they go radio silent about new IPs?
They haven't shown one off in over 2 years. It's been 2
years.
3
2 years. So
right. Yeah.
So this is what I keep thinking, and this is just Don throwing wild theories.
Yeah, no, go ahead, Don.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and that's something I know or anything like that. But the way I look at it is there is overlap between game development and stuff like that. There are certain people like myself that if I'm working on the graphic side, there's a certain point where they slap your hands and tell you stop working on shit because they have to patch it and get it shipped out, right?
Understood.
So usually a year to 6 months prior to the game being ready, some staffs are already working on new things. So the way I kind of look at it, it's possibly, theoretically, it's possible that this E3 they do have stuff to show us. It is, and if it's not,
I think they do.
If it's
That's
not
the thing.
E3,
I think they do, but I don't know if they will.
It's one of those two.
Like Rand said,
it's one of those two, and I know how Xbox gamers feel because like they feel like they've been let down for so long. And the way I look at it is, I think Phil's approach is handling gaming for Xbox. He almost treats it like this is an awful thing to say, but he almost treats it like a cancer patient, right? What he does is try to get the cancerous type stuff that's negative about Xbox not being said, so that therefore he doesn't say anything, right? But what kills the cancer also does harm to the host, right? And that's what we're seeing here. So the question is, how long are Xbox gamers going to be able to withstand not knowing? And is just showing a year out going to be enough for Xbox gamers if they have some bangers or not?
People are telling Phil and them, you guys got to show some roadmap that's longer than just 12 months. I don't think 5 years away, but show something that's maybe 2 years.
But the sad thing is, though, those same people are also the same people that said stop giving ammo to your competition. because things got canceled or postponed or whatever it may be. So the problem is you have a fan base that says one thing and then they say the other and they contradict one another, right?
Thank you.
Right.
So you have to. This is a message to gamers, right? If you want things to happen at Xbox, you have to be consistent on what you tell them and stand behind your own convictions. The way I look at it is, Phil told us we're not going to have anything till this year. So all this reaction we're getting, which Xbox gets it just before every E3, everyone starts raining down on Xbox, right?
Right.
Realistically, we already know we're not going to get anything until E3. So why react to things that we don't know?
Yeah,
like that doesn't make any sense to me. Like you're not adding all the pieces together. Like, and that's what makes me excited about E3. Like, we don't know what these guys are doing.
Exactly.
Even their competition, that gets me excited. So maybe I'm a glass full guy, so that's where I'm different. But
you're not half. It's not a half full, half empty. Don, here's the thing. First of all, I agree with everything you just said. Everything from your inception, your plan, what you said, and how you described how it sometimes hurts the host. You're right there. But in all reality, the thing about it is that people right now, we've been sitting here waiting and waiting and waiting, and the problem is that we've already heard, you included, that they're really waiting to attack starting next gen. So with that being said,
even though, hold on,
looking at the pieces, that means that this June probably won't be a big reveal.
I don't know if next gen. I don't think they're waiting for next gen. I think they're getting stuff lined up for next gen.
Since it's cross gen or whatever.
If it's forwards and backwards compatible, there's no need to wait.
Exactly.
I agree, Xbox. I agree.
That's what the strategy. Like, so games fall where they fall in regards to that. So
I think announcing that they have some new studios along with some stuff that's going to be a year and a half out would appease people, because guess what? The 5 studios that they have ain't shit.
Or
they're good studios, but they aren't shit in the grand scheme of things.
Or what'd be cool? What if they let 343 develop 2 games at a time?
Yeah, wow, that's something.
Or maybe let Coalition make 2 games at a time.
Well, I heard. I mean, maybe you probably heard that Coalition was helping do other stuff too.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying. 343 is literally 500 people.
Yeah.
500.
So you'd figure with that many people, and last Halo was 3 years ago, that we'd be getting some Halo news, but nope.
I mean, I heard
you know how to pull my heartstrings, man.
I know. Hey, you know what would make this year great? Halo.
Yeah, dude, if you put that Halo cherry right on top of 2018, man.
Well, what if I told you there was a Halo game coming out this year?
But what if you told me it was a spin-off Halo?
Well, what if I told you it was multiplayer only?
Yeah,
I agree with
that. If that's the case,
hey, Rand.
That's only multiplayer that deals with the Halo 5 type multiplayer. Dude, sign me up. I'll be right there day one.
Let me say this, Rand. You're checking all the boxes of a crap don't buy. Multiplayer only. Probably crossplay with PC.
I doubt it. I mean, crossplay with PC on a Halo game, a first-person shooter. Nah. If it was,
dude, I argue. Well, I don't want to say argue, but I argue with the quote-unquote. I can't remember his name. He's not a bad guy, but on Twitter, who was like, there's not a big advantage for people with the keyboard and mouse. They need to implement it, blah, blah, blah. It would be great. And I was just like, I was like, dude, I'm sorry to disagree with you, but not only is it an advantage because you don't got to aim, like you could just use a mouse and put it on somebody's head, but there's also the cheating. They can't stop it. Like you can't stop it in Sea of Thieves yet. So you know what I mean? Like I don't care. Like I'm past the point where I care about the shit on PC or whatever. But I am at the point where it's always got to have an option to disable that, so I can just play with my console peasants.
That's right.
Yes, the console peasants. Yes.
Yeah, but again, I asked Mooch this, right? I said, Mooch, because he was like, I don't really care that Black Ops 4 doesn't have a campaign. What's it matter? And I'm like, why it matters is because I do too. I said, you know why it matters is because that sets a bad precedent. Next thing you know, Halo has no campaign. Gears has no campaign. They're just releasing.
I don't think you can ever putting a Call of Duty campaign in the same sentence with Halo is blasphemy.
Dude, those there have been some really great Call of Duty campaigns.
No, you guys, and I know I'm going to get absolutely, I'm going to need somebody else on the panel to back me up here. But between Rand and Crap, they both like it because when you finish it, you get the gamer score. Most of those campaigns are absolute garbage.
No, I like the campaigns because
they're garbage.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. How
Rand,
dare you?
Captain,
How dare
Captain,
you?
Listen, Captain Price is that way. Follow him. Oh no, you didn't. You died. Oh, use a U.S. presidential quote and then fade out.
At least they had a campaign. I'm looking at you, Sea of Thieves.
Yes.
Well, here's the thing: is
Hey, Sea of Thieves was supposed to have an
release
intro.
a game without a campaign right now. Like, if they do that, that's going to hurt them more than it's going to help them.
I agree with you because people have become used to it, Don. Not because it necessarily needs it. It's because people have used it for so long. It's a crutch.
What do we hear this whole last 2 weeks after God of War came out, right? People complaining that Xbox doesn't have any single-player campaigns. Right. And they do. They do have single-player campaigns. That are also tied with other things.
Halo that's only multiplayer. People are going to forget about everything that was said about God of War real quick and be like, oh shit, let me get that. Yeah.
Rand, let me ask you this though, since you know about this stuff. Like I had heard, like, is it a are they trying to go after a PUBG style mode with that?
Maybe. I honestly don't know about the specifics of it.
I don't understand what the point would be behind releasing a multiplayer only Halo.
Well, see, with the Halo story, they can do that now with having a newer Spartan kind of like operation with newer Spartans that they're not children that are kidnapped from their families and stuff like that. It's people that are willing to join the Spartan program. And with that being said, they can spin off on a lot of stuff. They can do multiplayer only, which is just training for the Spartans in different scenarios. And they can do a lot with the Halo universe as it is right now.
So Xbox, you know how much I play Halo. You know, like, what my score is on that, right?
A few paces below mine. Yeah,
which is a decent amount. I can tell you right now, if they go that route, I'm out. Like, I don't care. I'm gonna sign off on Halo.
Yeah, I wouldn't get that. I know it'd be even Game Pass, and even though I have Game Pass, it's good to next. January.
I wouldn't. I'm right there with you. I wouldn't even bother with Halo ever again if they didn't have a single player campaign.
Yeah, I'm not big on the multiplayer, so I wouldn't care for it.
I think
my bad.
But Xbox, we're dabbling in the wrong subject here. Halo's not Halo. They recognize that Halo's campaign is a threshold. It's a pivotal point to that game. So there's no way in God's green earth. This is not to say that what Rand said, they may come off with a spin-off for the year to hold you over and have fun.
That's their side door right there. That's the way that they're able to do other stuff that might be more
exactly. You don't have to criticize. Right. I don't think you criticize Halo because they're coming out with a multiplayer only spin-off. Halo 6 is still coming, folks.
It seems like a rush, though. I mean, there's already Halo 5 multiplayer. Why would you come out with a multiplayer?
Because I'm only building off of what Rand's volleyball toss out there was. I'm going to hit the ball, and that is maybe they're going to do a PUBG mode, or I don't know, whatever. My point is that if all these other people are doing that, why can't they? A, B, Halo is so intact. Gears is so intact. So I mean, we're kind of going down a rabbit hole that doesn't exist. There's no way Halo 6 doesn't have a campaign.
But let me say this though, yeah, okay, it does. But if you notice, like the Halo games have been getting worse and worse scores, and then they're going to get eviscerated for a online only game. It's going to continue to not only that, but let me say this. People are already starting to say Microsoft is treating Game Pass and putting half-finished games in there, right? Where a half-assed Halo with only a multiplayer adds to that thought, like big time. So you have to be very careful with that. You got to protect that IP, in my opinion.
Yeah, you can do that with a new IP, but you can't do it with a pre-existing IP.
Exactly. Yeah.
In my opinion. Right. Yeah, in regards to that. So here's the thing. I actually don't think that's what 343 is doing. I'll say that. That's pretty much all I can say. But I wouldn't worry about that much.
That's all I can say for now, guys. Sorry.
Well, no, but I mean, and Rand, and let me I want to clarify because, with Crossfire, a lot of people always get it. That's all I'm going to say about that. But no, what I wanted to clarify was I have to defend myself because Crap was right. I did say that I personally don't need Call of Duty to have a campaign. That's a me thing. Okay. Only me. The reason I'm saying I get Rand, I don't think you play, again, I'm speaking for you, but tell me if I'm wrong. Do you play a lot of Call of Duty multiplayer? I don't see you playing that much, but what do I know?
I mean, no, but I'll tell you why I think losing the campaign is detrimental. It's because
go ahead.
It sets a precedent for the industry in itself, especially since if it actually works, right? Because we've heard from plenty of people the campaign usually costs the most amount of money, and it's the one that is typically not used the most, right? And here's like one of the biggest games in the world, supposedly dropping campaign, right? And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. This industry loves to copy ideas that are successful, hence why we're getting Battle Royale games out the ass, right? So imagine a situation where Call of Duty Black Ops 4 comes out and sells on par with Call of Duty's or better. Well, it speaks to Activision and be like, okay, well, we don't need a campaign anymore, so we can, we can cut the fat at our own studios, right? And then it'll speak to other publishers because they're always looking to trim the fat and get rid of certain things to make more profit. If Call of Duty is successful without a campaign, what does EA do with Battlefield? What does all these other companies that have these types of games, like, well, they did it and they were successful. Maybe gamers really don't care about a campaign. Just do the multiplayer, right? So my overarching fear is exactly that. It's successful, the industry copies it, and then 5-6 years from now, it's just all multiplayer nonsense.
Yeah. Well, because if you look at things, Microsoft likes games as a service. And if you want to be honest, you have to look no further than Ubisoft, who gets no shit for it, but that's all they're doing now lately. And look at Rainbow Six, right? Those used to have pretty good campaigns, and now no campaign for Rainbow Six. But like 20 million people have played that game, so
that's what I'm trying to say. That's why when people are like, well, COD, it'll be detrimental. I say, well, maybe instead of 28 million, they'll sell 27 million, but nonetheless, they'll still be okay with it.
There are a lot of people that like that. Listen, there are a lot of people like myself. I know Rand is a single player guy when it comes to Call of Duty. I know Craft.
The casuals, though, Boom, are all multiplayer.
I don't, listen,
they are.
We can discuss all evening, but we'll know when the sales come out on whether or not it was hurt.
Well, listen, I want to say this much. It was because we said PUBG, right? PUBG mode and having Battle Royale. We're all going to get Battle Royale. But look at what we learned in the past 2 weeks, okay? Radical Heights made a clone of a clone, okay? Fortnite copied PUBG, and then they copied Fortnite. And we all saw Multiplicity. We saw what happened when they got the copy number 4. Couldn't even put his pants on. My whole point is this, okay? Is that Radical Heights is failing now. There's like 2,000 active players on there, maybe 1,000 now. So just because you're doing the Battle Royale PUBG mode doesn't mean you're going to have a successful formula. So it has to still be a good game.
So Mooch gets it right. Like there's going to be a critical mass of anything, right? So what particular genre? There's only so many players for a particular style of game. So if you're going nothing but multiplayer, you ride that trend. Well, you leave yourself vulnerable to one of you is not going to make it, right? And you're betting on one thing, putting all your eggs in one basket versus two. And then the person that decides to do a campaign, since people are starving for that, will do really well. So I don't really fear this sort of thing because if you let things go its natural course, they'll figure it out. They'll screw up a couple times to get there, but they are going to figure it out as far as that goes.
I mean, it should already seem like people should have it figured out. The number one complaint about Titanfall 1 was no campaign, and the number one complaint about the first Star Wars Battlefront was no campaign.
Well, so here's the thing that always fights against you guys as gamers, right? There's always somebody's job at publishing company, a studio, whatever it may be. Their job is to figure out how to squeeze more out of the game, right? More dollars out of a game.
Yeah.
And so there's always somebody that comes with some bright idea or some twist on something that's already been done before, and either is successful for a little bit and fails, or it's a trend that everyone kind of gets on board. So there's always going to be somebody that's like that. That's always going to push and say, "Why are we spending this money here, where we make all the money here?" So
remember this too, Crap. What was the number one complaint about Titanfall 1? No campaign. What was the number one complaint about Titanfall 2? The multiplayer sucked. So my whole point being is that's a multiplayer-focused game. It was all about that. They took their attention off the multiplayer and focused it on the damn campaign. And the multiplayer really got hurt because
they tried to appeal to a more casual audience is what they did. And I would expect that they will have an equal focus on a great campaign again, which they got a lot of praise for, and fixing the multiplayer issues, which they got some hate for. But overall, the game was a solid game. It wasn't even bad, but it was like, well, how do you not have their equivalent of team death in there from the start and things like that? So, but again, that's like some of the biggest stuff. Like I would hope that Microsoft would be smart enough not to dilute Halo any further by putting out just some kind of multiplayer only thing.
Well, So what you're saying? So wait, I'm just want to get this clear. So you guys on the panel, for the most part, I don't think everybody's agreeing with this, but something like I think Crap's saying it right now. So if the hypothetical game, which Don's dismissed, but Rand said hypothetically could, if there's a multiplayer only Halo game that comes out this fall, I mean, myself personally, I know Halo 6 is coming, so it didn't affect my Halo. I'm going to get an extra Halo. I'm all in.
Well, it's not an extra Halo. It's just a multiplayer.
Mooch, I'm right there with you though, because with
that's a good portion of Halo too.
Having it be a spin-off doesn't mean that we're going to get anything taken away from the next Halo coming out.
It doesn't.
That's the way I look at it.
What it does is you already have people go, it's long in the tooth. It's this, it's declining.
Well, guess what? Fuck those people.
I get that, Xbox.
Oh, there you go.
Theoretically, if you put out a just multiplayer thing, that's watered down like nobody's business, in my opinion, right? Like, why even bother? Why not just at that point? At that point, why not just update Halo 5's multiplayer and go, here's a new mode for Halo 5 or something, instead of trying to,
because that's something that doesn't feel new and refreshing.
Yeah,
I would know that.
I would rather them release a single player Halo game like ODST, and don't worry, it's a single player game. You know what? If you want to play Halo multiplayer, play Halo 5.
Interesting.
There you go.
Interesting. No, you know what, Boom? Actually, I like the way you're thinking right there. Because to be honest with you, an ODST 2, I'm just making this up for shits and grins. Right. That coming out and saying, hey, we've got so much content, play your multiplayer on Halo 5, and here comes another. That would be something as well. But I do think that if, and this is a huge if, folks, don't run with this. I'm just saying if Halo was going to have a multiplayer only game, it would be because they're trying to keep up with the Joneses with the Battle Royale fab that's going on.
Well, the one thing I want to say, Don, you were saying that, everything will work out in the end, and there's only enough room for so many games in a genre. The problem is, this, like, that's not going to stop all these companies from making Battle Royale games.
Yeah,
they're all going to hope that they're the one game that can, be different than the other, right?
Absolutely.
Like, so you have the PUBGs and the Fortnites and the Radical Heights, and then who knows, Red Dead come along and do that, and Call of Duty tries to do it, Battlefield tries to do it, Halo maybe tries to do it, and you're right, there's only a certain enough people for it, but that won't stop them all from trying to be the one.
Yeah, well, and sometimes you just gotta let them fail. Like, I hate to say that, right? But like when certain people are leading studios down a wrong path and trying to chase the latest trend, and knowing very well that they're putting themselves in a dangerous spot versus what's worked for them in the past, then yeah, I mean, you're your own worst enemy at that point, right? I think you just have to go with what you envision a lot of times and go with something unique. I think in the future, where we're going to get games that do unique things are the ones that are going to stand out. I mean, and we keep looking at God of War, right? Like, let's just use, it's the perfect example, right? They did something totally different. No one else is doing what they're doing right now, and they're seeing success. And that's due to the fact because everyone else is chasing something else. Everyone else is chasing multiplayer. Everybody's chasing that.
Right, because they see Fortnite. They see how much money Fortnite's making. They're like, yo, if we can get a 1/10 of that, if we can carve out our niche, then we're set. But the problem is everybody else is doing it, And it just, like, look, Darwin Project, right? A game that came out, a month ago, is already going free to play.
Right.
And what else? Like, who knows about all these other Battle Royale games? I was told, like, by this time next year, we're going to be neck deep in Battle Royale games. Like, everybody's going to have their own version of it.
Well, this time next year, you're going to see the fallout from that, too.
Well, true.
Right? Like, we're going to see because what is it? Like, the whole point of all this stuff is keep people engaged in the game for a longer period of time, right? The industry has an issue with selling games past 6 months. That's the problem. So, if you got long legs and then you can get them with other types of transactions down the road with your long game, there's a possibility of more money there, or you can sustain or less risk. One of those, right? So that's the thought process. But in doing so, if you flood the market, there's going to be fallout from that, and then people are going to go back to what they do best or what has worked for them in the past. So the industry just goes in waves. I'm a big believer. I don't think genres die. I just think they get overshadowed by the latest and greatest thing, and people go back to them.
Well, because that was my point earlier, is that one of the other things the industry does is they copy what's popular. Yeah, Call of Duty multiplayer is popular. All multiplayer campaigns, multiplayer became like Call of Duty, right? Like Battle Royale is popular, so everything's got to be Battle Royale. So that's why I said, like, for my Call of Duty example, I was like, well, if they see success by removing a core thing of Call of Duty from the very beginning, this isn't just something tacked on 10 years later. This is like,
and it's not just any Call of Duty, it's Black Ops.
That's what makes it Black Ops.
It's right. It's the genesis. It's like the first thing. It's like, okay, and if they take it out and it's a success, just because this industry copies each other, other developers and publishers are going to be like, hey, I wonder if we can get away with that too and be successul. That's kind of just my fear.
Water. And that's what Crap was saying.
That's what I'm saying. It sets a precedent. Like, here's the thing, right? What I like best about, like, while people are complaining about campaigns and stuff, I feel like Gears of War always have epic campaigns and awesome multiplayer. And I feel like Halo has some of the best. It's like it rivals Star Wars in the epicness of this, except for Halo 5. But I mean, that wasn't. Who knows? There's a lot of reasons for that I could get into off air, but
there is something to say though, Crap, right? I mean, there's the other just to say that the glass isn't all empty on that. The other part is that if you do take the money and resources that was going into the campaign on games, not like Halo, not Gears, but like Call of Duties and the other ones that are just blah campaigns, like those, if you put that money and resources into the multiplayer, instead of it being the same old multiplayer in Call of Duty, maybe things would get better.
But do you see how half-finished games or half a game of an established franchise like Halo would make Game Pass look just like what all the haters are saying? Realistically, a place where Microsoft can shove their half-assed games and people will, you know what I mean? Like, to me, you don't water down your product like that.
I don't think that waters any. I don't think it waters it down when you're getting the actual product. You're getting Halo 6 in a year, so what's the difference?
But in the meantime, they put this game that could suck because it's only multiplayer.
Now,
a lot of people.
Crap, half of Netflix is still What About Bob's.
Let me just let me just say this. Let me finish. All right. What I'm saying is this: you're gonna a lot of people, myself included, much prefer. I think Halo multiplayer is okay. Right, but I really like the single player, the co-op single. That's what I care about with Halo. So Halo multiplayer only, if true, and I'm not saying it is, that would not interest me at all.
So wait a minute, Crap. You're on record saying you don't necessarily care for RTSs, but Halo Wars should be scrapped then.
I thought it was they were trying to expand their portfolio. I get that, but
that's what they're doing with the multiplayer.
For Halo.
You guys don't understand how this Game Pass shit looks this year. We know. Here's the facts. Crackdown 3. Right. Shit. If it releases this year, what was ran like 50, 60 Metacritic? Sea of Thieves, great game. Shit Metacritic. People say it's half finished. Right. State of Decay 2, verdict's out. Forza Horizon 4, great, but who knows? You know what I mean? So then you would release a Halo only. With the multiplayer, what I'm saying is it could possibly, if it's bad,
image-wise, I see where you're coming from. Damage
the Halo brand, and then you have a half-finished product that people like. That would be very polarizing because
I see your image. I see your image you're putting out there, and I think it holds water.
Well, I mean, Phil did say that if they lost their way with Halo, they lost their way with Xbox.
Exactly. That's like, I'm sure you've heard shit too, Rand, that there's all kinds of problems with Halo. There's been a lot of turnover there. With the direction
after Halo 5 finished, they lost a lot.
Well, you know what? Like I have theories of why Halo 5 fucking stunk in terms of the single player, and that has a lot to do with the way direction that Microsoft is in general.
Hey, that doesn't have anything to do with K-Mega's favorite character, does it?
Well, here's the thing. Can anybody on this panel besides Xbot tell me who any of the characters are?
Oh, damn, I get called.
Besides Chief and Locke.
Nathan
Buck,
Fillion.
that's the only one.
Buck, because Buck was an ODST and he's also
Buck was an ODST. Yeah.
There's one that looks like Samus.
Two girls.
Exactly. There's just characters that they put in there. Yeah, there's just characters that they put in there because they put them in. Right?
Gimme.
Who the hell knows? Like that'd be like me asking Mooch, "Hey Mooch, who are the characters in Star Wars Rogue One?"
Right, exactly.
Like you don't know.
I'll name you the dwarfs that hung out with Snow White.
Exactly.
exactly. You make a good point.
I'm just saying, man, like people, and what was the one thing that they took away from that, Rand? Wasn't it that people want to play as Chief?
Chief,
yes.
Yes.
People want to play as Master Chief.
Somebody in the chat gets why Halo 5 sucked. I'm not going to point out why you're right, but you are 100% right if you just look at what Microsoft is doing in terms of their culture and their.
That's the whole thing, and that's what I'm saying when I say Xbox is making money, but they don't make sense. A lot of their culture and everything they're trying to do over there is not necessarily good for business, and you'll see it eventually. Maybe right now they're up. They are up right now, but what Rand just said a second ago with Halo, if Halo loses its way, they've lost their way. That's what I'm trying to say in the long run. I understand they're up last quarter. Well, that's great. They instituted a lot of different clauses out there. They got Game Pass out there. Probably a lot of people bought into it, knowing that the 3-4 games are coming into it. A lot of people bought into Game Pass. The question is, will they stay in Game Pass? Netflix is doing well as far as subscriptions, but
here's the thing. If you keep putting half-assed and half-finished projects in there, people aren't going to stick around for that, right? Like, I think that it's a brilliant idea, and I think that it could have a payoff, but if they keep rushing and just putting these half-assed projects in there, then I don't think it's not going to end well, because who's going to keep subscribing to a place that has nothing? Like, eventually, even if you forget to unsubscribe, eventually you're going to be like, why am I paying for this shit again? And then you're going to cancel your subscription. Well,
that's on Microsoft to provide. I said that from the very first time they mentioned Game Pass. I was like, this is on Microsoft to provide timely, great content.
Let me ask you this, because you're a good person to bounce this idea off of. Maybe you think I'm wrong. Do you think they announced Game Pass a little bit early, or Game Pass probably was their idea for a while, but do you think they announced their first party games going day and date a little bit early because they weren't too sure about them this year?
That is a good question, because I do have to wonder how much of that was forethought, because like Crackdown was supposed to come out in November of last year.
Right.
And then it got delayed, and now, it's part of Game Pass. So it wasn't always supposed to be a part of Game Pass, or was it always supposed to be a part of Game Pass? And was the release just going to be the multiplayer with the single player later, or the single player with the multiplayer later and put in Game Pass? I mean, there's always a thought that they thought Sea of Thieves wouldn't do very well, so they had to boost up the bottom line.
I had heard that they didn't believe in that game almost up until that last open beta.
I mean, they were, I had heard this. I had heard that they were shocked by the Twitch numbers. I don't know, like Microsoft's but this all goes to their strategy. This all leads, like, it's Xbox Game Pass is great for the consumer that wants to spend $10. Like, hey, you want to play State of Decay 2? $10 gets you in the door, right? It's a great price, but like, this is all for, in my opinion, it lays all the groundwork for next gen. Like, Microsoft can show third parties how Game Pass helps. Look at Sea of Thieves. It charted number 2 at MPD. There's the MPD guys, like, there's no detriment to your game being in Game Pass. In fact,
that's a little early until we have more titles, like
more data.
That was a preemptive thing to say.
But I'm just saying, he has the data. He's seen it, and he's like,
absolutely.
There is. I mean, it did extremely well, and there is a $10 option. I guess you could say, well, maybe not a lot of people know about Game Pass, so they still bought it. But if
Microsoft doesn't advertise it, get out of here, Rand.
What I'm saying is, like, if you can have the data, the full breadth of data, and take it to third parties and being like, listen, like, having the Game Pass stuff in here actually helps your retail release. Maybe more third parties would be inclined.
That's a huge weapon. Yes.
And getting it there, like, and being able to put Game Pass on as part of a subscription service, for streaming, because that is what the streaming thing is going to be. That's who it's going to be for. It's not.
Here's what I said though, Rand. Game Pass won't excel though, unless, and I'm picking on Shadow of the Tomb Raider because we got the reveal yesterday. But just hear me out for a second, or today. Like, the whole thing about the Shadow of the Tomb Raiders or the Evil Within 2s, I said Game Pass will never be anything substantial until they're not going to get GTA 6 in there day and date. They're not going to get Red Dead. But why not take a Shadow of the Tomb Raider and put that in there day and date? Why not do that? Because listen, we know that the last Tomb Raider sold what, 7 to 9 million copies, 11 million copies over the threshold of years. Do it for the first year, see what happens, and pay diligently for that. And then but it markets, it makes your product so much more coveted.
Yes.
And that's what they need, because like I said, I get tired of doing it too, and I know the audience is tired of it, the Netflix model. But Netflix was doing awful when you had to queue up your DVD Blu-ray to get sent to you. And then when they said, listen, we've got to double down and put big money into a Marvel contract and a this and a that, and we have to get Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 day one. And when they did all these things, that's why everyone in America has Netflix. If you want even a fifth of gamers to have Game Pass, a game like Shadow of the Tomb Raider or Evil Within 3 or Borderlands 3, those games need to come out.
I agree. For Game Pass to Game Pass to be as big as they hope it to be, it can't just be Microsoft's own games. They have to have, and it can't just be indie titles, because
or old games, because there's rumors that they made a deal with Sega and they're going to have all Sega's old games in there. Well, great, that's really great, but to be honest with you, that's not really the lore we're looking for.
No,
but who cares?
But it still adds content to it, like, and it's
better than what's there, right?
Yeah, the numbers, but I agree with you that if you want to take it to the next level, getting some bigger third parties day and date would do that.
Yes.
The first party stuff of Microsoft is great. Very pro-consumer. You can get them all in there.
Right.
It seems like it's working. You know, a lot of people tested out Sea of Thieves. Whether or not the game's good is a different type of discussion. But Sea of Thieves clearly benefited from the visibility, right? And hopefully State of Decay 2 does as well. Now, if you could add in their Square Enix games or Activision games or what have you, it makes the service more compelling to the regular gamer out there. Because honestly, like, Game Pass, I think, only really appeals to hardcore Xbox fans, the ones who are interested in Microsoft's first-party content.
I would rather buy them, but I mean, like, here's the thing, right?
But hold on, crap. But like, the idea of the subscription is to get as many people as possible, and when you're taking that and putting it on the PC via streaming service or via your TV, you need compelling content for people to want to be able to stream it. Because if they're that invested in video games anyways, they're more than likely going to have an Xbox. So if you're streaming it to the TV, who is that distinctly for? It's got to be for people who aren't really that big into games, or at least don't have the money to get it. Are they really going to be that interested in Microsoft's games? Maybe, maybe not, but they might be interested in the huge third-party games that come out all the time. Then it's like, well, I don't have to spend $300 and get an Xbox. I can subscribe for $10 on my TV and I can play this. I mean,
P-Row says backlash from Sony fans wouldn't allow that. Listen, P-Row, that has nothing to do with it. And I don't think Sony, when it goes day and date third party into Game Pass, it's still available for PS4 day one. So it doesn't affect, that's the beauty of that whole process, is it doesn't take, one of Phil's things is I don't want to take content away. So he's not going to do anything exclusive. But what this does do is it gives his consumer on his platform the leg up, like Ren just said, for $10 a month they can play the game.
Let me just say this, though. I would wager that it would probably be just as expensive to buy a game to be exclusive as it would be to get it to go day and date into the Game Pass. Like, that doesn't really make
crap. The reason it has to compute with you is what it does is it keeps building this Game Pass into a monster.
Well, I mean, possibly, but you have to.
People want to join your monster. They want to get into Game Pass.
The biggest problem is the three biggest publishers are never going to do day and date. Never, 100%, never, ever, ever.
Probably
Activision,
not.
EA, Ubisoft, 100% will never, ever go day and date on Game
Bethesda. Get these other guys.
Yeah, but look, Bethesda comes out with good games, and then 2 months later they're $30.
That's perfect. That's the game I want.
Yes,
that's the game I want.
I'm just telling.
I want Wolfenstein 2 in there day one. Crap, really? But I mean, I know what you're saying. But
it's not going to happen, though.
Well, that's up to Phil. He's got to cut a deal.
Phil, look, you're talking about the guy who couldn't cut a fucking deal to get his starving gamers fucking kind a map pack, a fucking outfit, a mission. Right. Like, we're starving for any kind of content.
I agree with you, and that's why we want to see him. Right, we want to see him do it with Anthem or even Anthem.
Steven Rouse, I don't work for EA, but EA has a little thing called EA Access, and there's no EA games in Game Pass. None. There's none. There's no EA games in Game Pass.
No, look at Don. Well, Don, what are you thinking? Because I see in the chat you're saying this is a strange way to look at it. I mean, you don't see putting a third party now B-level third party game in the day and date. I think that's crucial.
Yeah, the way I look at it is this. So every time you sell a game on your platform, you take away from the opportunity of third party to. There's only so many usable dollars per gamer, right? So if you're basically slowly kind of siphoning money for your exclusives, and you're not asking $60 up front from that gamer, you're doing a couple different things. You're getting the gamer to try out the product. I've said this before. I think Microsoft, you can only win two of the three customers, right? Which is the end user, the developer, or the media. They can win over the customer and they can win over the developer, but I think the media at this point is a lost cause, right? So Game Pass allows them to do that, right? So your opinions on such and such a site doesn't matter because for $10 a month, you can try it. Now, if you want to continue to play that game, you either have a choice of buying it or not. But if you continue to do it the service, it kind of disappears. And so what it does, it gets people that are like, oh, I already played all my exclusives. Maybe I'll try a couple third parties. You free up money for the consumer. And what that does is it makes third party more happy to be on your platform. That's the way I look at it. They don't have to put this stuff on Game Pass. If all of a sudden their attachment rate goes up on Xbox because of Game Pass, that's a win for Microsoft.
Correct.
And if Microsoft makes money on Game Pass, which I think is going to be profitable, then that's a win for Microsoft. So either way, they're bringing in more income, and that's, I think, the way that Microsoft looks at it. Now, it's true if and we only have one example, which is Sea of Thieves, so I don't think that's a very fair judgment to look at it. I think State of Decay 2 and Crackdown would be kind of the true testimonial if we see a trend go on with those other two games, because those are the next two slated to come on Game Pass. If we're seeing that is actually helping, it's putting the game in the gamer's hands. They're trying it. They have the positive outlook. That outweighs what the media puts out there, right?
Right.
And then people continue to buy it. Because you think about it, how can what's the Metacritic score of Sea of Thieves? 6.7 or something like that? How can a Metacritic score of 6.7 game do that well? The only way it can do that well is if you won over the gamer. And then there's just as much as people dislike the game, there's a huge segment of people who love the game. I'm included. They had to win me over, to be honest with you. I think honestly, 4 or 5 months ago, I still wasn't sure about the game until I tried the most recent build. So, for me, the way I look at it is, Game Pass doesn't have to have every third party to be on it. They just have to be viable enough to continue to have content, to continue to have people subscribe to it, free up funds for the gamer to buy other third party games. On the platform, and I think that's what Game Pass does. I think those are the X factors I think people don't look at.
Yeah, no, those are.
I didn't look at it. I didn't look at it that way until you said it, Don. So that's interesting right there. We are in uncharted waters right now when it comes to being a console gamer. So to me, I'm not the glass is half empty type person. I want to see what happens. I'm already interested in the first party stuff from Xbox. Like I said, I feel like they have a good lineup this year. Halo 6 would have killed it indefinitely. But like, as for now, I'm excited with Sea of Thieves I'm playing. I can't wait for all the other ones that we just keep talking about for this year. Right. And it's interesting to see what's going to happen with a Netflix style gaming subscription, and what is the cause and effect really gonna be?
Right. No, I agree with you. Let me ask you. It never was. Listen, we got about 15 minutes left. I want to ask you guys a question on the panel. So recently Albert Pinello left Xbox, and a lot of people are like, oh, he's going to work for so and so. He's going to work for Philips Magnavox. He's going to be fine. All right. I know he's going to be fine. He's a talented man. I think he probably saw things a little differently. I don't know if it was more of Xbox thought he was not going the path they were, or he wasn't going, or in his eyes where he wanted to go, Xbox wasn't, whether he left on his own terms or not. I saw this as a bit of a conflict internally that, is being very, very well kept. Of course, that happens in every business. It has nothing to do with Microsoft. Doesn't matter who it is. But I mean, did you guys read into any of this? I mean, go back and watch all the Albert Pinello videos over the past 3 to 4 years. and you watch this man pour his heart out. He's almost, I call him the Wozniak of Xbox, right? And he's the one that was there from inception all the way through. And for him to leave, this whole he got another job thing doesn't sit well with me. I think there's maybe the direction that Microsoft's going, Al didn't agree with, or Al wanted to go in a certain direction. Microsoft was like, we're not doing that. And he was like, well, then maybe I shouldn't be here because it's not the fundamentals that I grew up with when we started doing this whole thing. So what do you guys think? What's the panel think?
Can I jump in here if you don't mind?
Please do.
Okay, well, here's the thing. I have been a big proponent for a very long time on this show and on many shows, how disappointed I've been as a fan with their marketing. Now Albert, he seems like a really nice dude. He does seem passionate. When you heard him talk, he cared. You can tell. The problem that I'm having is, and what we're never going to know this, like you always say, until someone writes a book 10 years from now.
Right.
But the problem is that the marketing has been, in my personal opinion, the poorest in gaming between the three companies. There's just no way you can slice the pie and say that, yeah, they I give them a thumbs up for marketing. They failed at every aspect of marketing, and they're still failing. So my question is one of two things.
Yeah.
How much did Albert have a play in? Like, how much was he responsible for? Because if he was there from the beginning, he served 18 years for Microsoft, so he's been around. And I just don't know if he left because he was frustrated that he couldn't do something, or they asked him to leave because they're going in.
Let me ask you a question though, because I really want to touch on that subject. So if you watched it, I've watched everything Albert's put out. Anything Al ever said was never related to marketing. He was always talking.
Yeah, he's always a hardware guy. Yes.
I don't know where else.
Who else was shocked that he was part of marketing?
When I saw his title, all I thought of was the movie Casino. Maybe that's because I'm a Guido. You know what? Because he couldn't be the head guy at the casino. They had to make him the head guy at the restaurant, the kitchen director. But really, he was running the casino. So for some reason, they gave him the title marketing director. But I've never in any of the promotions or any of the things when they're out there. Aaron Greenberg's the one doing that, not him.
You guys are thinking he's not your traditional It's not the traditional marketing like you would think, like television commercials. He's in charge of the console marketing, but more like he was in charge of like planning, the strategic planning, the project management of the console itself.
Right. Okay.
That's
still internal. Yeah.
How to roll it out to the press, that type of marketing, not I need
commercials.
To make I need to make a commercial. Like
right.
This is very different.
But he was very technical.
He also chose the direction of hardware to a certain degree, or at least had
yes,
that, right.
He had his hands on the hardware for sure.
Oh yeah, the rollout of Xbox One X, all his. Like not like the necessarily commercials, but how they rolled it out and all that stuff. That was his baby, like all that stuff.
Okay.
So I mean, I didn't really know the guy. I think I've spoken to him once at E3. Right. 18 years with the company, you very well could just be bored. 18 years doing it. He's just like, you know what? I don't feel like doing it anymore.
Well, that's the easy answer, Rand, but it doesn't seem like that.
What's the juicy answer? That he hates the idea for the next Xbox, and he's like, oh boy, I'm out of here before we roll this baby out. Like,
I don't think it's that. I think it's more the other way around. I think they sat him down, they asked him what his direction would be, they said it, and they're like, that's not where we're going.
Hey, Rand, let me ask you this question since you're a little more up to date on the ins and outs of that particular staff. So, am I wrong in thinking Albert's been bounced around between different positions quite a bit?
Yeah, he was. I know he recently came to work with Mike under Ybarra.
Okay. I remember like 3 different positions for that guy.
Yeah, he's been bounced around before, like the different type of things. But recently, he was working under Ybarra on the platform side with the console manufacturing or console marketing.
Okay. So this is where I want to go with this. So they may be doing a restructuring of things. And Albert is that guy that's worked there a long time, but he's worn many hats.
Right.
And I think that gets tiring quite a bit, to be totally honest with you. If you're Albert, do you want to in on the launch of the original Xbox One, or do you want to in on the launch of the X?
Sort of like Jack Tretton when he left on the PS4, not the PS3.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it on that. you know he's got enough and probably in the bank at this point that he doesn't have to worry about things. Like he's probably doing just fine.
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, listen, he makes a decent salary. He's not, he's not making.
Well, let me say this: this guy got basically gag ordered by Microsoft at a particular point. He used to talk all the time, and then he stopped.
Yep.
Microsoft was like, "Shut up! You're making things worse." He would go on NeoGAF and these other places. I had hardly heard from the guy, so if he's marketing, I'm marketing. I market more Xbox than he does. Hardware, soft, whatever, So whatever the thing is, he's gone.
Right.
Get somebody new in there. There's a couple others that they could stand to lose, in my opinion. And
I don't know if they need someone new there. I think they need to consolidate all their marketing to
what's funny
one person, because they're so divided on everything, and that's part of their problem why their messaging is all over the place.
And their marketing stinks too. Like I asked, like it was funny because, and I mentioned this on Xbox Nation, the official State of Decay 2 Twitter tweets out that they have a wrap for the elevator, right? State of Decay 2 wrap. I said, oh, so that's where the marketing went, huh? And I was like, I kid, but seriously. Are we going to see some commercials? Because we're literally 3 weeks away from the launch of this game. And somebody added Aaron Greenberg, and Greenberg goes, people don't watch TV as much as they used to, but we've got some interesting ideas for marketing the game.
So, see, and that bums me out because totally. Here's the thing: it's like they're looking at engagement numbers, right? Like that's you send a tweet, you can look at the stats of that tweet, how many people looked at it, and stuff like that, right? So they're looking at that sort of stuff. The problem with that, yes, you hit a certain number of people that have seen an ad or whatever, but when you go on YouTube, they click skip to watch. They skip your ad to watch another commercial about a movie, right? So like that's kind of what they're dealing with, and they don't leave. They reach the person, but they don't leave a lasting impression. So Microsoft understands the numbers, and I think they're looking forward, and they get it to a certain degree, but I think they're jumping the gun on this. I think they need to hold off for like another 3 years. Yeah, do all the other stuff they're doing, but still stick to the traditional marketing for a little bit.
That's what I said.
Because they have a wide demographic. It's not just young kids. It's aging gamers and younger gamers, right? And you want to reach that whole audience. You don't want to abandon one entire audience.
That's the thing.
Disposable income, right?
You got to pay attention to the young guys, Dom, but you've also got to pay attention to the booms, right? Like boom buys everything. I know we gave them that slogan, but like realistically, the thing is that this too, and I joke and I kid a little bit, but realistically, okay, you have to use the climate change. When they make a comment like nobody watches TV anymore, like that's a very, very odd thing to say. I'm sorry, but I understand the West Coast is warm most of the year, but ask Rand. It's been minus 20 since October. All right. We watch fucking TV because that's all we have. It's cold over here.
Well,
so we don't skateboard to work.
That comment, it shows that you're out of, so like, for example, okay, they got the numbers. So many people don't engage in TV, whatever, right?
Right.
But the harsh reality is when you hear that as a consumer, what they're saying by saying that, and you're probably going to take it this way, like, oh, they don't care about me. They don't care reaching out.
To a certain extent, I'm saying that I wouldn't say they don't care. I think they're ignoring us.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where I'm kind of going with this is like, they're so quick to jump the gun and look in the future, and they get that stuff.
Right.
But they have to hold on to the old branch before they swing to the new branch, right? They can't just let go and jump for it. Like you have to hold on to a little bit longer because that's where your competition's marketing. That's where other things that are not gaming markets, right? And to be honest with you, that's in competition for your dollar as well. People only have so much disposable income. So, and I don't think you can leave a lasting impression on a tweet like that. Like, look at the Gears 1 commercial. How many people here still remember the Gears 1 commercial? Every single like frame, right?
Yeah.
Because it sunk in, because it gave you time to think about it. Left
Don, Fear the Walking Dead, the NFL draft yesterday, God of War. But like, even if you don't have a PS4, you're floating to the store to buy one. It's just the.
You know how many tweets I saw today with people buying PlayStation 4s with God of War? It was out of control. It was like they were giving it away for free.
But here's the thing: is so when you're done doing that commercial, right? What is that person thinking about? Is it on the back of their mind? Is it in their subconscious? That sort of thing. A tweet doesn't do that, right? That's the problem with these sort of things. A YouTube commercial doesn't do that because people can skip past it. So you have to leave some sort of impression that puts your product always in the back of their mind.
Right.
And
I'm not saying neglect what they're doing. I think what they're doing is fine. All I'm saying is do both.
And I'm saying the same.
Do both.
I'm saying the same thing because one engages a different audience, right?
Right.
In a different demographic, but the other leaves a lasting impression. And that will also help with the negative impact where people don't have confidence in your brand, right? Because you don't have any presence. People don't. You're not on their mind.
It's the reason people buy Pepsi and Coca-Cola over RC because RC doesn't do the Super Bowl. My buddy who knows, listen, we were watching the draft, right? So he turns to me. He knows I'm way into gaming. He has an Xbox. Okay, he has an Xbox One, but he's not into gaming like all of us. But he saw the God of War commercial come on. He turns to me. He goes, "Hey, is that any good?" And I go, "It's actually fantastic." He goes, "Huh, all right." You know, I mean, like it resonated. Like you said, he's thinking about it during the ad. He's thinking about it after the ad. And all he needs is one more push to go make the purchase, maybe. You know, that's what I'm trying to say. Well, and when you have these guys that are saying TV's irrelevant, it's ignorant.
It is. It's sad because you know what? Because Sony does every YouTube channel. You just click on one of my things. It's God of War. Yeah. They got that guy singing opera, very catchy, showing off God of War. They did that the basketball game on the floor or whatever that is, God of War. You got to do all that stuff. When Microsoft used to be big time with the 360, they used to do the same stuff.
Yes.
Right? Like you got to advertise your stuff more than just on the dashboard.
The Titanfall commercial with the giant robot pulling the guy out of work. I mean, that was amazing.
That was a great ad.
That was a fantastic ad.
The most important thing, how long ago was that? 3 years ago?
Yeah.
5 years.
4 years.
4 years ago.
4 years ago.
Is that commercial still stuck in your head?
It is.
Yes.
Yeah, so when the next Titanfall comes out, what do you think of? You think of Xbox? Or you think of
that commercial. Yes.
I think an Xbox.
Yes.
So that's where I'm kind of going with this. Is there's an impact that's left when you can leave an impression with somebody that's something memorable. You strike a good commercial, like television commercial, it radiates in a way that no other medium can.
So now, real quick, I do have a question. I know that we're getting right at the end, and Crap sent in the tweet.
The tweet's on the way. Yeah.
The question is it Aaron Greenberg that needs to be removed?
I think they're just too divided.
Aaron Greenberg is not even really the head of the marketing either.
Who's actually the head of marketing?
Nobody knows.
Mike Nichols is head of marketing.
Wow.
Okay, so now again, you have a lot more insight than I do, Rand. So I'll lean on you with this. You obviously you've always been an Xbox guy. I'm an Xbox guy first, but I play everything just like you now. When the marketing has been as bad as it has been for so long, doesn't that qualify for change? A change of direction, a change of leadership, a change of an ideology, whatever you want to call it. What was working, what they tried is not working. So maybe we need another direction change.
Can I say when it comes to certain things, and this is not just an Xbox thing, this is a Microsoft thing. When it comes to marketing on the Xbox side and certain things, we all say this at least once. Like throughout at least this generation, Microsoft, Xbox, they look at the numbers. The only problem with that is they are kind of being a little bipolar here. They're listening to all this stuff on social media, and then they're checking the numbers. But when it comes down to it, the numbers are what's dictating the leap. Right. So, with them saying, well, people they're not really getting into TV that much anymore. Yeah, but guess what, dude? You don't want to have your consumer just feel like a number. You don't want them to feel like, oh, I am number 2,556, and that's all I am to Microsoft or Xbox. And
so you're saying you can't quantify an impression is what you're trying to say.
Exactly. Yeah. They need to show that they are really there for their consumers, and it's not just about bringing innovation or something new and stuff like that, but it's about doing the small things like with your marketing. Fill out all the gaps there. Have these Xbox commercials out there where people can see them and stuff like that, and they're going to benefit from doing stuff like that. I just think they need to see it as more than just numbers.
Xbox, you're 100% correct, but I think that what Don was saying a second ago and Crap alluded to, and Rand didn't get a chance. I want Rand to give his 2 cents before we bounce. I just think that when you see Sony doing it on the internet, using YouTube, doing Twitter, doing TV, doing movie theaters, doing basketball, doing outside events that are massive, that have the people's eye and has other media attention, and you see it working with like God of War, which you got that Matt Pescatella, whatever his name is there from MPD, like the number's going to be staggering to see the amount of people that went. There's people buying God of War that aren't even sure why they bought God of War. That's how much their marketing's working. You know, there's all of us that are sitting here being like, it's great because of all these things.
And you know, it's funny.
Like, I don't even know why I bought it.
They don't listen to anybody on Twitter or anything like that either.
Right. And that's my point. Rand, what were you going to say about the just marketing as a whole? I mean, do you see what they've been doing? Do you think they need to just change something?
I don't know. I don't know what Microsoft's goals are, so it's tough to say, like, they aren't hitting exactly what they want it to be. You know, then you look at the titles themselves. Like, Sea of Thieves, probably not the easiest game to market.
Why not put that Sean Ashton commercial on TV, though? Not just a movie theater spot and then YouTube. That's a great ad, and that's got a big face. He's big in Stranger Things, too. People know who he is.
I've seen it in front of movies, like a movie. I went to go see
but why not put
Black
that on
Panther,
TV?
and it was, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's budget for like Sony is very good at marketing their games. They're big ones, right? Like God of War is marketed in a way I haven't seen Microsoft market a game since, quite frankly, like Halo 3 almost.
Yes, right. Yeah.
Where it was like literally an event. It was everywhere.
It's everywhere. Yeah.
Now, we don't have all the information. Like, they may be like, all right, here, make some ads, and this is the amount of money you have to work with. So you have this amount of money. It's like, well, do I blow it all on TV, or do I, space it out on YouTube, and what type of stuff do I do? So it's tough to say that, like, they need a change or to do something different. What I think is, I just don't think the games that they have recently are really like huge marketing worthy titles. I didn't think Sea of Thieves is. State of Decay 2 doesn't scream, like this needs to be marketed from the roof. Like their last game that they probably what was Gears of War 4, the one that they went all in with the marketing.
Right.
So I mean, we'll have to see. Like, how I think they'll market Forza Horizon 4 very heavily, just because of how well 3 sold.
Right.
I think they'll probably go through the roof for that one.
Hey, Rand, do you think that Forza Horizon 3 and Forza Motorsports aren't in Game Pass because those games are actually still selling pretty well?
Yeah, I mean, Forza Horizon 3 still sells a ton. So I would imagine. Yeah, I mean it is kind of weird that not a single Forza's in there. Like, not even like 6. Or like Forza Horizon 2, you would think they'd put those in there to kind of, PlayState people.
They still sell extremely well.
Yeah, I don't know, Boom. Like, it's
yeah, I'm Boom
marketing.
Now.
No, I mean, I was more trying to answer Boom's question.
Yeah.
I don't think marketing is like the reason Xbox is like where it's at. Like, I thought they had pretty good marketing early in the gen, and it
probably comes down to priority too, because Sony is making most of their money from gaming. That's why they're throwing all their money at.
Well, that's what I thought too. And that's probably a topic for, and that's a good point though, Jay. It really is that Sony's threshold and their predominant like source of income is gaming, and they throw the kitchen sink at it, and rightfully so. And people go, well, Mooch, wait a second. Now Xbox has got its own corner at the table. They don't have an excuse. They should be throwing everything they got at their gaming sector. And I don't have an answer for that because I haven't seen it yet. Maybe it's coming. I don't know. A lot of people are like, just wait till E3, wait till E3. I'm going to wait to E3 because, listen, just want to reiterate before we leave, like, everybody here is a huge Xbox fan. No one's going anywhere. And Crap made a good point. I still haven't beaten God of War. I've traveled all week for work. I haven't had a chance to play it all this week. But, like, when I'm done playing God of War once or twice through, what do? I'm playing even all multiplats, Fortnite, PUBG. I'm playing everything on Xbox.
It's back to Destiny 2, Mooch.
Destiny 2 is going to be big. We'll save that for next week. Go ahead,
I saw Mooch trying to Mooch Destiny 2 on PS4, by the way.
I see people in chat saying, like, who's Mike Nichols? Like, look, Mike Nichols, his official title at Microsoft is Corporate Marketing Officer for Gaming at Microsoft. Like, he's Aaron Greenberg's boss. He's in charge of all the marketing there. I mean, I don't know. Like, that is what it is. That's who's in charge of marketing. Like, You know, like everybody has a boss there, right?
Well, everybody has a boss, Rand, but
got a boss.
Is in charge of Xbox onesies. That's what
you know,
he's
like Mike Nichols' boss is Phil, because Phil's head of Xbox. So, you know, and Phil's boss is Satya Nadella, and you know, like it is what it is. Like Greenberg has his position, but Greenberg's boss is that dude.
Oh, so Greenberg's boss is Mike Nichols.
Is the World Serpent. I'm just pointing it out.
The World Serpent. Crap, do the Mimir thing one more time for me, man.
Yeah, do the Mimir thing, please.
Do the Mimir thing.
Do the Mimir thing.
Mimir!
Yes.
Well, let me do this. It's been well over 2 hours. It's Friday night. Mimir wants to get his game time in. I'm going to go in reverse order here. We'll go in reverse. J-Dubs, let everybody know where they can find you, and thanks for being here tonight.
You can find me on the internet.
Nice.
Thank you.
J-Dub.
Right next to all the Microsoft commercials. Thanks, Jay. All right, that's awesome. That's awesome.
No, so I produce M&C Mornings. If nobody knows that, I'm sure you all
never
do.
heard of it.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah,
never heard of it.
Actually,
never heard of it.
Shush.
Who are Mooch and
I started a podcast. I started a gaming podcast with
Rush Hour Renegade.
Danny Boy. It's not Rush Hour. It's just called Retro Renegade. And we play old school games on Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock. No, 7 o'clock Eastern. And I'm also on the internet. You can find, if you want a gamer pick, go to xboxgamerpicks.com. I'm now providing animated gamer picks.
Oh, like Xbox here.
Yes, sir.
Which I'm very disappointed that in a regular Hangout they don't animate. They only animate on OBS.
Interesting.
Well, now
in this podcast,
in this podcast that you do you talk?
I do talk. I talk a lot,
excellent.
actually.
Excellent.
Do you talk?
Hey, Jay, I have the secret on how they animate on a regular Hangout. So I'll send it to you on Twitter, dude.
Sounds good, buddy.
Nice, very
right,
cool.
brother.
Let me go to my next guest who was with us tonight. He's known as the Don. Don, thanks for being here, buddy. Let everyone know where they can find you.
Yeah, the best way to find me is on Twitter, which is @thedon_KTR. My gamer tag is
kiss that ring.
my gamer tag's the same thing minus the underscore, and I'm going to be on DRG right after this.
Nice, awesome.
Damn, you're doing double duty.
Awesome
Double
work,
duty.
Don. That's
The
huge,
Don
buddy.
is the best. I know he probably disagrees with me a lot of stuff, but that's cool. Don's awesome.
Don is, even when he disagrees with you, man, he's always good to have on. It's always a good topic.
I've even had a couple Xboxes X, like when they listen to podcasts, they'd be like, "Who's that Don guy? He's really smart." I'm like,
"Oh, there you go, Don. you can literally quit your day job. That's
great, man. Build his ego up some more, dude.
Dude, I mean, like, you know, the Don's the reason to listen to the next podcast on Saturdays.
That's
right. Hell yeah. I always vote for his
Don.
gameplay too.
Sometimes I'm on the Xbox Nation, sometimes on Crossfire, just whenever I'm free. So
love it, Don. Love it, and we really appreciate it. The man with the million, now known as, what was the new name, Rand? Mediocre.
I'll come up with something catchy.
Yeah, I like
man.
Rand, thanks for being here, buddy. Always good to have you back on Crossfire. We'll do it more often. I know you got a lot going on, but it was really good to sit down and talk with you tonight. And where can people find you?
You could find me here on YouTube. You know, my channel, youtube.com/RandallThor19, where I do videos, not as many as crap, but you know, maybe like one a day or something like that. Like, you know, but yeah, you can check me out there.
Very cool, buddy. Thank you very
does
much. Appreciate
as many
it.
videos as crap.
I was gonna say, who does?
I tried doing a couple a day, 3 a day. I'm like, I can't. I can't. I don't know how he does it. I can't.
It is. It's exhausting. God bless you.
Skill.
God bless you. I'll go to my next guest, usual suspect, Senora Bombastic. Boom. Where can people find you?
Yeah, find me on Twitter because I'm always tweeting something or another. If it's not movies, it's games, it's something. And you know, if you like what I'm saying, next week is going to be the first episode of Breakfast with Boom next Friday morning.
Hold on, Boom. Are you cooking?
No. No. I will be drinking coffee. We have my bacon, egg, and cheese while I'm on the mic, so look out.
I forgot all about that, Stephen Roush. A vote for Mooch is a vote for Donnie D.
God bless.
I remember that.
God bless Mooch and God bless Donnie D. No, only kidding. Xbot 448, never confused with 844. Xbot, thanks for being here tonight, buddy. Real passionate. Always good to have you on the show. Where can people find you?
Yeah, no doubt, man. As usual, Crossfire, man. It's about the topics. It's about the debates. It's about the opinions.
Yes.
before I say where people can find me, I just want everybody out there to hit that thumbs up for this all-star panel tonight.
We're about to hit 200. That's great.
Very close.
Are you not entertained?
Right? No shit.
But yeah, as usual, next podcast on my channel every Saturday at 7 p.m. This Saturday, we have a special guest. Our brother Avers from G4G Media is going to be hanging out with the next podcast crew. Of course, we're going to have the gameplay rolling as we're talking. You can vote for the best gameplay at the end of the show. You didn't even see his gameplay yet.
No, it doesn't matter, man. His gameplay is the best.
But
it is a lot of fun. We got the Don there. We got K Mega. We got myself, which some people might like.
Save walk. Save walk. Hashtag.
It's good. I miss K. We gotta get K on the show, actually. But I don't know if he could do Crossfire and then go set up his room.
Oh, he can. It just depends on how much alcohol he has in the house. That's all.
Listen, well, I'll even send some his way, man, to get him on here. That'd be great. Awesome, Xbox. Thank you very much. And certainly not last, the man himself, the infamous Crap Gamer. Crap, where can people find you this weekend? I feel bad I did not get that damn collector's edition just for that keychain.
I know, it's my keychain, man. I carry it with me everywhere now. So yeah,
I want that keychain.
Yeah, we got MNC mornings this Sunday on your channel. I do like multiple videos and stuff. So yeah, there's always like leading up to E3 is always crazy. Yeah, but it's always my favorite time of year to do YouTube stuff because it's when a lot of that stuff kind of pays off and you start getting like a lot of the rumors come out and a lot of the leaks and the fake leaks and it's all fun. Like people don't understand speculation is fun to talk about.
It is.
That's half the fun in my opinion,
Can
right?
We live, people? Can we live?
Yeah, it's so funny when you get people that are like, oh, crap's this or Rand's this. You don't have to be right all the time. Like speculation. And I think that's half the fun, man. Like it's like Christmas. You're trying to guess what you're gonna get, and I think that's really part of the fun of this stuff, And I'm excited about E3. I'm excited about Xbox. They got the best multiplats at least for the next couple of years.
That's right.
So enjoy it, man. They got Xbox Live with the best controller. We're probably gonna get a 2.0 on the Elite. It's not all doom and gloom. What we talk about on these shows, as Xbox fans mostly, is the stuff that maybe bugs us. So like as Xbox fans, that's more crucial to us than talking about Sony stuff since most of us aren't on Sony stuff most of the time.
Right.
Like, I'm already back on Xbox. I finished God of War. I'm done,
I'm going back on PlayStation tonight, bro.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just one of those things. Well, people
Randall Pony.
I'm getting that platinum in God of War.
Yeah.
My first one.
I'm going to try to do the platinum. Is it within reach, Rand, or no way?
Oh yeah, it's in.
All right.
Well, that's not fair to ask Rand that.
That's true.
Any master of the achievement.
There's no level of difficulty trophy though, so there you can.
Yeah, I played it on. Just give me a story.
Yeah, that was great.
You played it on easy crap. Come on,
he's notorious.
Give me a story, man. 28 hours. Normal. 28 hours, and I beat it.
At least normal, bro. Come on.
I didn't even do all the side missions that were optional.
Don, when you make your game and it goes through all the publication, everything, can you just make the easy, just call it the crap gamer level?
Crap gamer mode, yeah, exactly.
Crap mode.
Hey, look, honestly, man, I just don't have time for that. I will say this, because I always feel disconnected when I play extended periods on PlayStation 4. Yeah. That was the first time where I think I could put in 6 hours. I think the first night I played it, I put 6 straight hours in on that game.
Yeah.
And that's the first time I've been able to do that on like a PlayStation 4 game. So that should tell you right there what you need to know about that game. Great on them. It's not a knock on Xbox because Xbox, I think, does great single player game. Like we didn't get to talk about Shadow of the Tomb Raider, but that looks phenomenal.
It does look really good. I wanted to get to that subject too, but there is all weekend and we have MNC mornings.
Yeah,
so we will talk about that. Guys, thank you very much. It's Friday night. We'll be back next Friday at 7 p.m. Again, 11 a.m. Eastern time on my channel, MNC mornings. We'll see you next week. Thanks to the panel in the chat. And thank you, Mamir.
Thanks all the JWs for showing up.
Peace, everybody.
All two of you.